There are no accidents in the divine plan. If this message found its way to you, it's not because of an algorithm. It's because destiny has a way of sending signals when your soul is ready to awaken. You didn't stumble across this. You were summoned. There's a deep and ancient truth written into the very fabric of the universe. Nothing powerful is born without pressure, and nothing chosen walks through life without resistance. The more light you carry, the more shadows you attract. But not everyone survives that contrast. You did. And now you're here. Not broken, but battle-tested. Not lost, but chosen. Let's begin this journey together. It's not just a message. It's a reflection of everything you've been feeling but couldn't put into words. From the earliest moments of your journey, something about you is different. You didn't fit in, and no matter how hard you tried, blending into the background never felt natural. That's because you weren't made to fade into the crowd. You weren't crafted for mediocrity. You were never ordinary. You've always carried something deeper, something heavier, a calling, a presence, a light that can't be easily ignored. And while others may have coasted through life, you've felt the weight of being different. But what you once saw as a burden was, in truth, a sacred signature of purpose. Ordinary lives don't shake atmospheres. Ordinary hearts don't carry the kind of fire that shifts generations. But you do. That's why life hasn't always been kind. Because the chosen path is rarely the easy one. It's the road carved through resistance, through rejection, and through refinement. And while some seem to rise with applause, your growth came in silence. Alone. In rooms where no one clapped, but heaven took notice. And as you continued to grow into your calling, something else began to happen. People started to leave. You held on with everything you had. You poured your love, your energy, your loyalty into people who couldn't see your worth. You chased doors that slammed shut, cried over opportunities that slipped through your hands, and wondered if the losses meant you weren't enough. But here's the truth. What left your life was never meant to stay. That relationship you gave your heart to, it couldn't carry your future. That opportunity you lost sleep over, it would have misaligned your destiny. Sometimes rejection is not cruelty. It's compassion in disguise. It's divine interference, saving you from what your heart wanted but your soul didn't need. You see, when you're chosen, not everyone can walk with you. Your future demands clarity, and clarity requires separation. So the exits you thought were your downfall were actually your deliverance. The universe heard conversations behind closed doors you never did. It saw the hidden motives, the quiet jealousy, the subtle sabotage, and it removed what you didn't have the strength to let go of. Let them go. Let what was never yours fall away without guilt. Because what's coming will recognize you instantly. You won't need to prove, to beg, or to break yourself to fit. The ones who are meant to be in your life won't be confused by your value. And that's exactly why so many couldn't get close to you, why certain relationships couldn't last, why you often felt like you were on the outside looking in. It's not because you were broken, it's because you are sacred. What is sacred must be protected. A diamond isn't placed on the sidewalk for anyone to grab. It's guarded, kept safe, cherished. And that's how heaven views you. When people mishandled you, it wasn't because you were too much. It was because they didn't have the capacity to honor you. They approached your spirit with dirty hands, not realizing the purity of what they were touching. And each time someone tried to use you, abuse you, or reduce you, life didn't punish them immediately, but it did take notes. The more sacred your purpose, the more protection you need. You weren't being left out. You were being guarded. While others focused on looking good, you were being prepared for something greater. That's why some people had to leave. It wasn't rejection, it was protection. No, your journey hasn't been easy. But truthfully, it's the pain that shaped your strength and built the fire inside you. You asked, why did it hurt so much? But the real question is, how else would the fire in you be forged? The heartbreaks, betrayals, lonely nights, and unanswered prayers, they weren't random. They were your refining fire. Because when God crowns a person, He first tests their heart. When the universe is preparing someone to lead, it puts them through seasons that break their ego, sharpen their vision, and strip away everything fake. You didn't suffer because you were weak. You suffered because strength was being carved into you. You didn't fall apart, you fell into place. Each crack in your heart became a channel for your light to shine through. Every wound gave birth to wisdom. And now, you don't just carry a message, you are the message. A living testimony that pressure doesn't destroy the chosen. It prepares them. So if you felt pain, if you felt like everything was falling apart, know this: it wasn't. It was falling into divine alignment. Can you feel it? That silent pull, that quiet but undeniable sense that something is changing, not just around you, but within you. It's not anxiety. It's not coincidence. It's alignment. You are standing at the edge of something monumental, and the ground beneath you is shifting. But this transformation didn't happen overnight. It's been building. Slowly, silently, sacredly. Every tear you cried in private, every setback you thought would break you, every night you whispered, "Why does it have to be this hard?" It was part of a greater story being written in the unseen. You see, the shift always begins in silence, because what's truly powerful never needs to announce itself. It simply arrives, ready. And this quiet rising, explains why the attacks have intensified. Because you don't walk like everyone else. You don't chase attention, yet somehow it finds you. You move with humility, but your presence speaks louder than pride ever could. That's what the Daniel anointing looks like. It's not about being loud. It's about being aligned. Daniel wasn't flashy, but even kings took notice. And so did the snakes. The same favor that promotes you is often the very thing that provokes others. Your growth exposes their stagnation. Your peace reveals their chaos. And your obedience? It's unsettling to a world obsessed with shortcuts and image. You've been misunderstood, watched, not with admiration, but with intimidation. But hear this: their opinions don't define your purpose. Their envy doesn't disqualify your anointing. And their resistance? It's just proof that you're rising in the spirit before it's visible in the physical. Chosen ones don't need validation from crowds. They carry confirmation from above. Stop trying to make yourself smaller so others feel more comfortable. You were never meant to be liked by everyone. That's not your assignment. You were meant to leave a mark so undeniable it echoes long after you've left the room. And sometimes, that kind of presence doesn't attract applause. It attracts resistance. Your light makes people confront the darkness they've ignored. Your truth cuts through illusions others depend on to survive. So don't be surprised when your elevation causes people to distance themselves. They're not avoiding you. They're avoiding what your growth reveals about them. And that's okay, because you weren't built to be palatable. You were built to be powerful. Let them talk. Let them question. Let them misunderstand. Your worth doesn't shrink because someone else can't see it. The roar of your purpose is too loud to be silenced by their whispers. You've spent too much time trying to explain yourself to people who were never supposed to understand you. You see what others miss. You sense shifts in rooms others walk through blindly. You notice unspoken truths, feel unseen motives, and carry insight that doesn't come from books. It comes from divine download. That's not paranoia. That's precision. And the reason you've often felt out of place in surface-level spaces is because your depth intimidates shallow minds. But you don't have to keep explaining your moves, your decisions, or your silence. Chosen ones operate by spiritual radar, not public opinion. You were given a vision not everyone was meant to see, so stop translating it into a language they refuse to learn. Your obedience is enough. Your discernment is protection. And your distance? It's often the clearest sign of wisdom. You may look at others who seem more skilled, more connected, more applauded, and wonder, why not me? But what you don't see is that while talent might open doors, only obedience keeps them open. Obedience is showing up when you're tired. It's trusting the process when nothing makes sense. It's staying humble in silence when your heart screams for recognition. And that, right there, is what separates the chosen from the called. The world celebrates talent, but heaven honors obedience. Your breakthrough won't come because you were the loudest or the most polished. It'll come because you listened, because you waited, because you stayed true when no one was watching. And in a world that idolizes speed, your quiet consistency has made you unstoppable. There's a sacred silence that often follows the seasons of struggle, a quiet stretch of time where nothing seems to move, nothing seems to break through, and you wonder if all your effort was in vain. But silence does not mean stagnation. Don't let the stillness fool you. The quiet doesn't mean you're being forgotten. It means you're being formed. Warriors aren't built in the spotlight. They're sharpened in the shadows. And you, chosen one, have been hidden not to be overlooked, but to be preserved for the precise moment heaven declares, now. In this silent space, your roots have grown deep. Your strength has been forged far away from applause. And just when it seems like nothing is happening, that's when everything is happening. Stillness is not your enemy, it's your strategy. And just as you're growing in the silence, the favor on your life is becoming louder. But here's the part the world won't understand. Favor was never meant to be fair. It doesn't follow rules or respect order. It chooses the faithful over the flashy, the obedient over the obvious. So when you rise, they'll call it luck. They'll say it's undeserved. But they didn't see the price you paid in private. They weren't there for the nights you cried yourself to sleep. They didn't witness the storms you survived in silence. So let them whisper. Let them wonder. Favor isn't supposed to make sense. It's meant to make history. And now, the shift is no longer a distant promise. It's here. The atmosphere is changing. The alignment is happening. That surge you've felt in your spirit, it's not just emotion. It's preparation. This isn't business as usual. This is divine movement. The door you've been praying for isn't just opening, it's swinging wide. But it won't wait for hesitation. This is a suddenly season. The question isn't, will it happen? It's, are you ready? Because when the shift calls your name, the chosen don't chase, they rise. You were never random. You were always marked. Everything they used to bury you only proved how fireproof you are. Every detour, every disappointment, every dark night, none of it was in vain. Now, you are stronger, sharper, clearer, and the shift isn't just coming, it's already begun. This is your announcement, your alignment, your activation. You were not just chosen, you were made unstoppable. If this message spoke to your soul, thank you for sharing this moment with us. Your presence here matters. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss what's divinely meant for you. And if you're ready to step fully into your purpose, drop "I'm ready" in the comments. Your journey is just beginning. Let's rise together. In every age of crisis, history often records the rise of a most unlikely figure, someone unexpected, sometimes controversial, but ultimately instrumental. It's in those defining moments that one begins to wonder, are these just coincidences or divine appointments? Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States, has been a figure marked by controversy, bold innovation, and profound shifts in the American political landscape. Through elections, impeachment trials, global diplomacy, and national unrest, he has not merely survived, he has often emerged emboldened. To some, these are merely the twists and turns of political drama. But to others, particularly within the Christian community, his journey mirrors the biblical pattern of chosen leaders, flawed, misunderstood, and at times opposed, yet sovereignly positioned by God. Could it be that Trump is more than just a man of influence? Could he be, like the figures of old, an unexpected tool in God's hands? Let's explore 7 compelling biblical signs that suggest Trump might be God's chosen instrument for such a time as this. Sign 1. The prophecy of Isaiah 45 and the parallel to Cyrus. Throughout history, God has shown a pattern of using the most unexpected individuals to carry out his divine will. One such example appears in the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, where God speaks directly to a Persian king named Cyrus. Remarkably, Cyrus was not an Israelite, not a prophet, nor even a believer in the God of Israel. Yet God called him his anointed, appointing him to free the Jewish people from Babylonian captivity and commission the rebuilding of Jerusalem. I summon you by name and bestow on you a title of honor, though you do not acknowledge me. The number 45, the chapter in which this prophecy appears, also happens to correspond with Donald Trump's position as the 45th President of the United States. To some, this is merely a numerical coincidence, but to others, it is a compelling parallel, a divine echo. Like Cyrus, Trump emerged from outside the religious establishment. He was not known for spiritual leadership, nor was he the favored choice among religious elites, and yet he rose to power and took bold steps in support of causes central to biblical prophecy. Cyrus did not know God intimately, yet he fulfilled God's purposes. In the same way, Trump, despite his imperfections, may be operating under a higher plan, one that he himself may not fully understand. Just as Cyrus was used to bless Israel and set a course of restoration, some believe Trump may have been raised up for such a time as this, to protect, restore, and even prepare the way for what is yet to come. In the biblical pattern, it's not always the most holy who are chosen, but the most strategically positioned. And that, some say, is what makes Trump's story so prophetically significant. Sign 2. Recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital. One of the most defining and controversial decisions of Donald Trump's presidency was his official recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. In 2017, he took the unprecedented step of relocating the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, something previous presidents had promised but never dared to do. For many, it was a bold political move. But for others, especially within the faith community, it was far more than diplomacy. It was the fulfillment of ancient prophecy. Jerusalem is not just a city in the Bible. It is the beating heart of God's covenant with his people, the spiritual epicenter where divine history unfolds. Mentioned over 800 times in Scripture, it is the city where God's presence dwelled, where kings reigned, prophets wept, and the Messiah was revealed. Its significance transcends time and politics. It is central to God's redemptive plan. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. By recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital, Trump aligned his administration with this biblical promise. He didn't just shift foreign policy, he affirmed a spiritual reality that many believe had been long denied. To those who understand prophecy, this act was deeply symbolic, viewed as a step toward the Messianic era, when Jerusalem would once again take its place at the center of global attention. Scriptures in Ezekiel and Revelation speak of a time when Jerusalem becomes the dwelling place of God once more. For some, Trump's decision was more than strategic. It was prophetic. It re-established a divine alignment between heaven and earth, between God's promises and modern history. In doing so, he wasn't just making history. He may have been helping fulfill it. Sign 3. The Abraham Accords, a covenant of peace. In 2020, under the leadership of President Donald Trump, something remarkable happened, something that, for decades, the world believed to be nearly impossible. Multiple Arab nations, long at odds with Israel, signed historic peace agreements. These treaties, collectively known as the Abraham Accords, marked a profound turning point in Middle Eastern diplomacy. But to many, this was not just political progress. It was a prophetic moment unfolding before our very eyes. The name Abraham was not chosen at random. Abraham is the patriarch revered by Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike. He represents the shared spiritual ancestry of these faiths, a father of nations, a man of covenant. The Accords invoked this unity, symbolizing a bridge between peoples once divided by hostility, but now walking cautiously toward reconciliation. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you. What makes this moment truly striking from a biblical perspective is its connection to prophetic themes of peace and unity in the last days. In Isaiah 19, we read of a future where Egypt, Assyria, and Israel will stand together as a blessing upon the earth. The Abraham Accords seem to echo this vision, suggesting that a long-awaited moment of regional peace had begun to take shape. Yet, Scripture also offers a sobering reminder. In 1 Thessalonians 5:3 it says, "While people are saying peace and safety, destruction will come on them suddenly." This duality, peace on the surface but judgment looming, leads many to wonder, are we watching prophecy unfold? Donald Trump, a man not often associated with peacemaking, became the unexpected architect of one of the most prophetic peace efforts in modern times. Perhaps like others God has used, he was chosen not despite who he is, but because of it. Sign 4. War returns to Israel after Trump's departure. In the wake of Donald Trump's 2020 election defeat, the world braced for change. For many, it was the end of a political era. But for others, especially those watching through the lens of biblical prophecy, it signaled something far deeper, a spiritual shift. And almost as if on cue, a dark cloud began to gather over the Middle East. Israel, once enjoying a rare season of relative peace, was thrust back into the throes of war. During Trump's presidency, efforts like the Abraham Accords had ushered in an unprecedented calm across the region. But that fragile peace began to unravel shortly after his departure. Tensions reignited, enemies mobilized, and Jerusalem once again became a flashpoint for global conflict. To those with spiritual discernment, this wasn't just geopolitical unrest. It was the reawakening of ancient patterns foretold in Scripture. On that day, when all the nations of the earth are gathered against her, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock for all the nations. This prophecy echoes loudly in our modern era. Israel surrounded, global powers divided, Jerusalem at the center of contention. Some believe that Trump's exit removed a layer of divine protection, a spiritual covering that had, for a time, held back the chaos. In biblical history, when God's appointed leaders stepped away, hardship often followed, not as punishment, but as a reminder that divine order is not maintained by politics alone, but by God's sovereign hand. Trump's absence in this turbulent moment has led many to reflect. Was his time in power a window of divine favor? And is the return of war a sign that the prophetic clock has begun to turn once more? In the eyes of some believers, the answer is yes, and that makes this sign all the more sobering. Sign 5. A bullet misses by millimeters, a divine preservation. On July 13, 2024, during a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, the unthinkable nearly happened. As Donald Trump stood before a cheering crowd, delivering a speech with his usual boldness, a single seemingly insignificant movement changed everything. He turned his head slightly, barely a fraction, just as a bullet was fired in his direction. The shot, traveling with lethal speed, grazed his right ear instead of striking its intended mark. Panic erupted. Secret Service agents swarmed, the crowd screamed in shock. Yet in that instant of chaos, one truth emerged. Trump had narrowly escaped death. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. To many this was simply luck or instinct, but to people of faith, it felt like divine intervention. A millisecond's delay, a different posture, and the outcome could have been fatal. Instead, Trump walked away, injured but alive. He would later reflect, only God prevented the unthinkable from happening. The Bible is filled with similar moments, times when God preserved his chosen ones in the face of certain destruction. David, pursued by Saul, was saved again and again. Daniel emerged unharmed from the lion's den. These weren't accidents. They were markers of divine protection. Trump's survival, against all odds, echoes that same heavenly pattern. It raises a question too large to ignore. Was his life spared for a purpose yet to be fulfilled? In a world where so much hangs in the balance, this moment served as a stark reminder. When God appoints someone for a mission, no weapon formed against them shall prosper. Whether Trump knows the full weight of that mission or not, this narrow escape spoke volumes to those who believe God still moves in powerful, unexpected ways. Sign 6. The defense of life. Pro-life convictions. Among the many positions Donald Trump took during his presidency, one of the most defining and deeply spiritual was his unwavering support for the protection of unborn life. From his earliest days in office, Trump made it clear he would be a president who stood for the sanctity of life. This commitment wasn't just political for many Americans, it was moral, even sacred. Trump backed pro-life legislation, cut funding to organizations that promoted abortion globally, and, perhaps most significantly, appointed conservative judges to the U.S. Supreme Court. These appointments ultimately reshaped the legal landscape, leading to a historic shift when Roe v. Wade was overturned, a landmark decision that returned the power to protect unborn life back to the states. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. This verse, treasured by millions of believers, speaks to the heart of the pro-life movement, the belief that every human life is a creation of God, known and loved before birth. By supporting pro-life policies, Trump aligned himself with this biblical truth, defending those who have no voice, standing for those who cannot yet stand for themselves. Critics often questioned how someone with Trump's background could become such a champion for life. But the Bible is filled with examples of unlikely people being used for divine purposes. From Moses to Paul, God often calls the unexpected to do what is most needed. For many believers, Trump's pro-life stance was more than political. It was providential. In a world that increasingly devalues life, his leadership became a defiant affirmation that life matters to God and must matter to us. It is this bold stand that many see as a clear sign of divine purpose woven into his presidency. Sign 7. Championing religious freedom in a time of repression. In recent years, expressions of faith, especially in public life, have come under increasing pressure. In schools, workplaces, and government spaces, the voice of religion has often been pushed to the margins. For many believers, it felt as though their values were being silenced. But during his presidency, Donald Trump stepped forward as an unexpected advocate for religious freedom. Unlike many political leaders who avoid faith-related issues out of caution or controversy, Trump confronted the issue head-on. He signed executive orders that protected the rights of religious organizations, ensuring they could receive government support without having to compromise their beliefs. He supported prayer in public schools, defended the rights of Christian adoption agencies, and took bold action to stand up for persecuted Christians around the world. You are the light of the world. Let your light shine before others. Trump's efforts weren't just about policy. They touched something deeper. To many people of faith, his actions sent a clear message. Your voice matters, your faith matters, and it deserves protection, not repression. At a time when many felt their spiritual freedoms were under attack, Trump gave them not only a voice but a defender in high office. In the Bible, religious freedom is more than a right. It's essential for revival. God calls his people to worship, to pray, to live boldly in their convictions. When leaders defend that freedom, they open the door for spiritual renewal. For millions, Trump's bold defense of religious liberty wasn't just political, it was prophetic. It reminded them that even in dark times, God can raise up unexpected leaders to protect what matters most, the right to believe, to worship, and to shine the light of truth. Throughout the pages of Scripture, we see God time and again using the unlikely, the imperfect, and the unexpected to fulfill his divine plans. From shepherd boys to foreign kings, he chooses not by appearance or reputation, but by purpose. Could Donald Trump be such a figure? Could the signs we've explored, his alignment with biblical prophecy, his protection of Israel, his defense of life and faith, point to something greater than mere politics? Like Cyrus in Isaiah 45, Trump may not fit the mold of a traditional spiritual leader, but perhaps it's not the mold that matters, it's the mission. In a time of global uncertainty and moral confusion, some believe his role is part of something bigger, a divine assignment unfolding in real time. Of course, the final answer rests not in human opinion, but in God's sovereign design. Yet the signs invite us to pause, to pray, and to consider whether history is once again repeating a sacred pattern. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and reflection. If this message stirred something in your heart, or gave you a new perspective, we invite you to like this video, share it with others, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for more inspiring, faith-filled content rooted in biblical truth and prophetic insight. Your support helps us continue bringing these powerful stories to life, and together, we can keep shining the light of truth in a world that desperately needs hope. Until next time, stay encouraged, stay watchful, and may God bless you richly. Tears, often dismissed as signs of weakness. But what if I told you that when a chosen one cries, something shifts, not just within their soul, but across the entire universe? This is not a metaphor. It's a spiritual reality hidden in plain sight. For the awakened, for the seekers, for those who carry divine assignments on earth, every tear is not merely sorrow. It is a summons, a signal, a supernatural ripple that calls forth change. Have you ever felt an unexplainable energy when someone near you wept from the depth of their soul? Now imagine that same energy magnified, because the person crying is not just anyone. They are a chosen one, marked by purpose, burdened with healing, destined to awaken the sleeping. Tears are often dismissed as weakness, fleeting expressions of sorrow that fade as quickly as they fall. But when a chosen one weeps, something far deeper is at play. Their tears are not ordinary. They are charged with divine resonance, vibrating at a spiritual frequency that reaches beyond the physical realm. Each tear is a sacred signal, a whisper to the heavens that a shift is taking place in the fabric of reality. Chosen ones walk with an invisible weight, carrying divine assignments that are often misunderstood by those around them. Their hearts are open, their spirits sensitive to the energies of the world. When they cry, it is not merely personal pain leaking out. It is a release of energetic truth, a surge of divine emotion that echoes through spiritual dimensions. Their sorrow speaks in a language the universe understands. All throughout history and ancient stories, we find examples that prove this truth. Jesus wept at the tomb of Lazarus, and moments later, resurrection followed. The Buddha shed silent tears beneath the Bodhi tree before stepping into enlightenment. These were not just emotional responses. They were spiritual catalysts, acts that awakened divine intervention and altered the course of history. What makes the tears of a chosen one different is not the emotion itself, but the authority behind it. Their tears carry assignment. They carry prophecy. They are the breaking point of human endurance and the turning point of divine purpose. So when a chosen one weeps, the atmosphere shifts. Heaven leans in. The unseen realm responds. To the world, it may seem like they are breaking, but in truth, they are activating. Something ancient, something sacred stirs within them, and the universe takes notice. Because when a chosen one sheds tears, it isn't just emotion, it's divine energy in motion. Tears, often dismissed as signs of weakness. But what if I told you that when a chosen one cries, something shifts, not just within their soul, but across the entire universe? This is not a metaphor. It's a spiritual reality hidden in plain sight. For the awakened, for the seekers, for those who carry divine assignments on earth, every tear is not merely sorrow. It is a summons, a signal, a supernatural ripple that calls forth change. Have you ever felt an unexplainable energy when someone near you wept from the depth of their soul? Now imagine that same energy magnified, because the person crying is not just anyone. They are a chosen one, marked by purpose, burdened with healing, destined to awaken the sleeping. Tears are often dismissed as weakness, fleeting expressions of sorrow that fade as quickly as they fall. But when a chosen one weeps, something far deeper is at play. Their tears are not ordinary. They are charged with divine resonance, vibrating at a spiritual frequency that reaches beyond the physical realm. Each tear is a sacred signal, a whisper to the heavens that a shift is taking place in the fabric of reality. Chosen ones walk with an invisible weight, carrying divine assignments that are often misunderstood by those around them. Their hearts are open, their spirits sensitive to the energies of the world. When they cry, it is not merely personal pain leaking out. It is a release of energetic truth, a surge of divine emotion that echoes through spiritual dimensions. Their sorrow speaks in a language the universe understands. All throughout history and ancient stories, we find examples that prove this truth. Jesus wept at the tomb of Lazarus, and moments later, resurrection followed. The Buddha shed silent tears beneath the Bodhi tree before stepping into enlightenment. These were not just emotional responses, they were spiritual catalysts, acts that awakened divine intervention and altered the course of history. What makes the tears of a chosen one different is not the emotion itself, but the authority behind it. Their tears carry assignment. They carry prophecy. They are the breaking point of human endurance and the turning point of divine purpose. So when a chosen one weeps, the atmosphere shifts. Heaven leans in. The unseen realm responds. To the world, it may seem like they are breaking, but in truth, they are activating. Something ancient, something sacred stirs within them, and the universe takes notice. Because when a chosen one sheds tears, it isn't just emotion, it's divine energy in motion. What happens when someone harms a chosen one? At first, nothing may seem to change. Life carries on as if nothing happened. But over time, a shift begins, often quiet, but undeniable. Things start to unravel, and those who once stood tall find themselves stumbling. Why? Because the universe operates on an unbreakable principle, balance. And when a chosen one, someone aligned with a divine mission, is hurt unjustly, that balance is disrupted. Their tears don't just fall unnoticed, they ripple through unseen realms, activating what many call karma, but in truth is spiritual justice. This isn't about revenge, it's about restoration. When someone wounds a chosen one, whether through betrayal, deception, or cruelty, they unknowingly trigger a spiritual chain reaction. It might not be immediate, but it is inevitable. The energy they send out must return. This is why so many people who mistreat pure-hearted souls later find themselves facing unexpected hardship. Doors that were once open close. Relationships fall apart. Opportunities vanish. It's not punishment. It's the natural response of a universe protecting what is sacred. Chosen ones are not just individuals. They are vessels of light. Harming them is like throwing a stone into a sacred river. The ripples reach far, and eventually, they come back. So if you've ever wronged a chosen one, even unknowingly, take it seriously. Seek forgiveness. Realign with truth. Because when a chosen one sheds tears, the universe listens, and it always responds. When a chosen one cries, it might seem to others like they're falling apart, overwhelmed by pain, betrayal, or the weight they've been carrying. But on a deeper level, that moment is actually the start of something powerful. A major shift is taking place. You see, their tears don't fall in vain. They carry the weight of unspoken prayers, suppressed emotions, and divine energy ready to move. And once released, that energy begins to reshape everything around them. Relationships start to shift. Environments feel different. People disappear, some by choice, others removed by unseen forces. It may feel like rejection, but in truth, it is redirection. The universe is clearing the path. After deep emotional pain, a chosen one often finds themselves standing in the ruins of what once was, friendships lost, careers left behind, familiar places no longer feeling like home. But these losses are not endings, they are openings. The storm did not destroy them. It washed away what no longer belonged. In this sacred clearing, clarity comes, strength returns, and new doors begin to open, not just opportunities, but revelations. Many chosen ones awaken to higher truths in the aftermath of heartbreak. Their vision sharpens. Their purpose becomes clearer. This is the divine pattern. The breakdown comes first, then the breakthrough. The tears water the ground where transformation takes root. And from that pain, something extraordinary begins to grow. So when a chosen one weeps, don't mistake it for weakness. It's the first sign of renewal, a divine reset, a powerful transition from who they were to who they were always meant to become. Because after the storm comes the shift. From the outside, a chosen one's lowest moment may look like the end, a collapse under the weight of betrayal, isolation, or heartbreak. But in truth, it is the beginning of something sacred, because the very pain meant to break them becomes the fire that refines them. Suffering, though bitter, awakens something powerful within. When a chosen one is pushed to the edge, it is not defeat that greets them, it is revelation. Through their tears, they begin to shed everything that no longer serves their purpose: false attachments, limiting beliefs, relationships misaligned with their destiny. Their sorrow becomes a sacred stripping away, preparing the ground for something greater. And then, the rise begins. Slowly but with divine certainty, they start to rebuild, not the life they had, but the life they were always meant to live. They speak with more wisdom, move with greater clarity, and walk with deeper purpose. The pain didn't just shape them, it awakened their true power. This is the unseen transformation. While the world believes they've been defeated, they're actually evolving. Like seeds buried in darkness, their growth begins underground, in silence, in secret. But when they rise, they are stronger, more focused, more aligned. Those who once doubted them begin to take notice. The ones who walked away now look back in disbelief, because the chosen one they once overlooked is now rising, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. So if you've watched someone fall and assumed it was the end of their story, think again. For the chosen one, pain is not a prison. It's a passage. It doesn't destroy them. It reveals who they truly are. Hurting someone who carries light is never just a personal act. It's a spiritual one. And when that someone is a chosen one, aligned with divine purpose, the consequences of that harm reach far beyond what the eye can see. Many believe they can mistreat kind-hearted people and walk away untouched. They might manipulate, betray, or take advantage, assuming their actions will be forgotten. But what they don't realize is that the pain they cause doesn't disappear. It transforms. It becomes energy, and that energy begins to move in ways they cannot control. The tears of a chosen one are not silent in the spiritual realm. They are loud cries for justice that summon divine forces. And once those forces are in motion, the energy must return to where it came from. What was sent out must come back, sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once, but always with purpose. This is not about revenge. It's not about punishment. It's about balance. The universe is built on it. And when that balance is disturbed by wrongdoing, especially against those chosen to carry light, it is only a matter of time before correction follows. Many who have harmed chosen ones eventually face consequences they never expected. Unexpected losses, emotional turmoil, missed opportunities. Life begins to unravel, and they don't always connect the dots. But the spiritual realm never forgets. If you've ever caused harm to someone who only wished you well, take it seriously. Reflect. Make amends. Because hurting a chosen one is never just between you and them. It's between you and the laws that govern the unseen. And those laws, they always respond. When life pushes a chosen one to the edge, when everything they trusted seems to fall apart, it may seem like they're being crushed beyond repair. But what looks like the end is often just the beginning of a divine transformation. The journey of a chosen one is never easy. They face trials that test not just their strength, but their spirit. They lose people they love, endure rejection, and walk through seasons of deep loneliness. Yet through it all, something greater is happening. Something the eye can't see but the soul can feel. Every loss becomes a lesson. Every heartbreak, a redirection. And every breakdown, a setup for breakthrough. While the world sees only the pain, heaven sees preparation. The crushing isn't meant to destroy them. It's meant to extract what's pure, what's purposeful, what's divine. Just like olives must be pressed to produce oil, chosen ones often find their greatest power in their most painful seasons. It's in the pressing that their true anointing begins to flow. And when they rise, because they always do, they carry a presence that's different. Sharpened by experience, humbled by pain, and aligned with purpose, they no longer fit the mold of who they used to be. They emerge stronger, wiser, and ready for the next level of their calling. The path from crushed to crowned is never straight. It is winding, painful, and full of uncertainty. But for those who are chosen, it's sacred. It's part of the divine cycle, one that turns pain into purpose and sorrow into strength. So if you're in the middle of the crushing, hold on. You're not being buried. You're being prepared. To every chosen one listening, know this. Your tears were never wasted. Your pain has purpose. You were never meant to blend in, because you were born to break cycles, to carry light into dark places, and to awaken souls still asleep to their own power. If you've ever felt the weight of being misunderstood, if you've walked through seasons of sorrow that made no sense, yet found yourself stronger on the other side, then you are not alone. You are part of something bigger, something sacred. You are walking the chosen path. Thank you for spending this time with us and for opening your heart to this message. If it resonated with you, if it stirred something deep within, we invite you to join our growing family of awakened souls. Subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so you never miss a message meant for your spirit. Life doesn't move in a straight line. It unfolds through different seasons, challenges, and moments of deep realization. For many, society defines success by age milestones. Graduate in your 20s, peak in your 30s, and settle down by 40. But what if the real journey doesn't begin until 40? What if your 40th birthday is not a countdown to aging, but a divine appointment for becoming? If you've always felt different, out of place in shallow conversations, drawn toward deeper meaning, or burdened by an invisible calling, then this message is for you. You are a chosen one, a soul with a sacred purpose, and your life truly begins at 40. Let us walk together through the 8 profound reasons why this chapter of your life might just be the most important one yet. 1. You have mastered the art of letting go. In the earlier chapters of life, the instinct to hold on is strong. We cling to relationships, identities, and expectations, not always because they nourish us, but because they're familiar. Even when something hurts, we hesitate to release it, fearing the emptiness that might follow. Letting go feels like failure, like giving up on what we once hoped would last. But something shifts as you step into the wisdom of 40. You begin to see letting go not as loss, but as liberation. You recognize that release is not about giving up. It's about making room. Room for peace. Room for joy. Room for the person you are becoming. With each heartbreak, every disappointment, and every season of pain, you've gathered something precious. Clarity. You've learned that holding on to what no longer serves your growth only weighs you down. And now, you no longer mourn what leaves. You bless it, thank it for its lesson, and gently open your hands. This is not a lesson learned overnight. It's carved from years of living, of wrestling with change, and of slowly awakening to the truth that your worth is not tied to what you keep, but to what you're willing to release for the sake of your becoming. Letting go has become a quiet strength in your life. It has shown you how to trust the ups and downs, how to let go without fear, and how to make room for what truly belongs. In doing so, you've found real peace. 2. In time no longer controls you. For much of your life, time felt like a race. There was always a clock ticking, subtle, relentless, pushing you to do more, to be more, to reach certain milestones by certain ages. Whether it was career, relationships, or personal success, everything seemed urgent, as if you were falling behind some invisible standard set by society. But now, as you step into the deeper awareness that comes with 40, something profound begins to shift. You start to understand that the pressure was never real. It was only a story you were taught to believe. Time is no longer your master. It becomes your companion. Instead of rushing, you begin to trust. Trust that your life is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust that divine timing governs every chapter, every opportunity, and every pause. This realization brings freedom. The anxiety that once lived in the gap between where you are and where you thought you should be begins to fade. You become grounded in the present, no longer haunted by the past or obsessed with the future. You move with intention now, not urgency. You understand that what is meant for you will never miss you. And in that stillness, in that surrender, you finally reclaim your rhythm, not by speeding up, but by letting go of the need to rush. Time no longer controls you. It flows with you. 3. You discover your true purpose. In the earlier seasons of life, purpose often feels elusive. You try on different roles, pursuing careers, chasing dreams, achieving goals, all in hopes that one of them will finally feel like home. Yet, despite your efforts, something always seems to be missing. A quiet ache lingers beneath the surface, whispering that there's more to who you are than what the world sees. At 40, that whisper becomes a revelation. Suddenly, the scattered pieces of your past begin to make sense. The struggles that once seemed random, the paths that ended abruptly, and the years that felt wasted, all of it begins to reveal its purpose. What once looked like detours now appear as necessary steps in your becoming. You realize that your pain was not punishment, but preparation. Every setback sharpened your insight. Every redirection refined your calling. And now, for the first time, you feel a sense of inner alignment, a deep knowing that you are exactly where you're meant to be. This is the moment when purpose stops being a question and starts becoming a calling. It's not about titles or applause. It's about impact, meaning, and living in harmony with your soul. You no longer chase purpose outside yourself. You remember it from within. You step forward not with uncertainty, but with conviction, because you've been prepared for this. And now, you are ready to walk in your truth, not to prove anything, but simply to fulfill what was always yours to carry. 4. You no longer seek external validation. There was a time when being seen, understood, and approved by others felt essential. You shaped parts of yourself to fit in, softened your voice, concealed your doubts, and wore masks that kept you feeling safe. Praise felt like affirmation, criticism like rejection. And so, you lived much of your life seeking permission to be who you truly were. But with age and experience comes clarity. And at 40, something within you shifts. You begin to understand that real freedom doesn't come from being accepted by others. It comes from accepting yourself. The validation you once craved from the outside begins to rise from within. You no longer feel the need to explain your choices or justify your path. The opinions that once shaped you now pass through you, no longer holding power. This new confidence isn't loud or performative. It's quiet, rooted, and unshakable. It comes from knowing who you are, flaws, gifts, history, and all, and choosing to honor that truth unapologetically. You stop bending to expectations that no longer serve you. You let go of the need to be liked, and instead focus on being real. You no longer chase approval because you've realized that worth isn't given. It's remembered. Now you walk your path with integrity. Whether others understand or not no longer defines you, because your value isn't found in their applause. It's found in your own alignment with your truth, your peace, and your purpose. 5. Your spiritual awakening deepens. Spiritual awakening often begins as a subtle stirring, a quiet pull towards something greater than yourself. In your younger years, it may have shown up in moments of wonder, a longing for deeper meaning, or unexplainable feelings that whispered of something beyond the physical world. But life's noise often drowned those whispers out. Now, at 40, those whispers grow louder, clearer. The distractions that once consumed your energy begin to fade, and in their place emerges a hunger for truth, stillness, and connection. You no longer chase answers in the outer world. Instead, you turn inward, and there, you find wisdom waiting. The challenges you've faced, the synchronicities you've witnessed, the paths that led you through both light and shadow, none of it was random. You begin to see a divine pattern woven through it all. What once felt chaotic now feels orchestrated with sacred precision. Your intuition sharpens. Your dreams carry meaning. You find yourself drawn to practices that nourish your soul, whether it's prayer, meditation, journaling, or simply moments of silence beneath the sky. These are no longer habits. They are lifelines. You begin to trust the guidance that flows from within. You understand that the divine doesn't live somewhere far away. It lives within you. And as you deepen this connection, you begin to live with a sense of peace, purpose, and profound alignment. This is no longer just an awakening. It is a return, a homecoming to your truest self. 6. Your energy becomes magnetic. As you grow into yourself, you begin to sense the world differently, not just through sight or sound, but through energy. At 40, your awareness sharpens. You notice how people make you feel, how environments affect your peace, and how your own presence carries weight. This isn't imagination, it's intuition coming alive. In earlier years, you may have ignored the heaviness around certain people or tolerated spaces that drained your spirit. You stayed out of obligation, habit, or fear of conflict. But now you move differently. You protect your energy like it's sacred, because you finally understand that it is. This new awareness transforms how you live. You no longer give your time to relationships that pull you down or conversations that leave you empty. Instead, you seek alignment, harmony, flow. You know when something resonates with your soul and when it doesn't, and you honor that without guilt. As you become more intentional with your thoughts, emotions, and actions, your energy shifts. It strengthens, it clarifies, and that clarity becomes magnetic. You begin attracting people, opportunities, and experiences that reflect your growth and support your journey. You are no longer just reacting to life, you are shaping it. With focused energy and conscious presence, you create space for joy, peace, and purpose to thrive. Your energy speaks before you do, and now it speaks truth, strength, and light. 7. You embrace solitude as sacred. There was a time when solitude echoed like loneliness, a gentle ache that slipped in with the silence when the world finally grew quiet. You may have filled your days with noise, people, or distractions just to avoid the silence. Like many, you once believed that being alone meant something was missing. But now, at 40, solitude transforms into something sacred. You begin to see that silence isn't empty, it's full of truth. In the stillness, you meet yourself again, not the version shaped by expectations, but the one your soul has always known. You no longer run from quiet moments. You crave them. Solitude becomes your sanctuary. It's in these spaces of retreat that clarity emerges. You reflect, realign, and reconnect with the divine voice within. No longer do you seek validation or direction from the outside. Instead, you turn inward and discover a source of wisdom that has always been there, waiting. You understand now that solitude doesn't separate you from the world. It strengthens your presence in it. Time alone becomes a place of healing, of creativity, of spiritual renewal. You find beauty in your own company and strength in your own stillness. What once felt heavy now feels holy. you realize you were never truly alone, because Spirit, the universe, and your higher self have been walking beside you all along. And in this sacred quiet, you rise stronger, clearer, and more connected than ever before. 8. You finally live for yourself. For much of your life, you may have worn masks to meet expectations of family, of society, even of your younger self. You made choices to please others, to avoid conflict, or to fit into roles that never truly reflected who you are. You put your own dreams on hold, telling yourself there would be time later. But now, something within you awakens. At 40, you begin to see life differently. You realize how precious time is, and how costly it is to live a life that doesn't belong to you. The weight of expectation starts to fall away, and in its place rises something more powerful: permission. Permission to be honest, to be bold, to finally be you. You no longer feel the need to shrink yourself to keep others comfortable. You no longer trade your peace for approval. Instead, you begin choosing what aligns with your spirit, not out of rebellion, but out of reverence for your truth. Living for yourself doesn't mean abandoning those you love. It means showing up more fully, more authentically, because you're no longer living divided. You pursue passions that light you up. You say yes when it feels right, and no without guilt. You honor your needs, your voice, your worth. This is not selfishness. It's wholeness. You are no longer surviving life. You are shaping it with intention and courage. And in doing so, you finally begin to live, not for anyone else's story, but for your own. If you've made it to this point in life, through the storms, the stillness, the questions, and the quiet awakenings, know this: you didn't come this far by accident. Every detour was direction. Every delay was divine timing. Everything you've endured was part of a sacred preparation to bring you here, to this moment of arrival. 40 is not the beginning of the end. It's the unveiling of who you were always meant to be. You are not behind. You are becoming. This chapter is not about chasing more, proving your worth, or meeting someone else's timeline. It's about reclaiming your power, honoring your truth, and stepping fully into the life your soul was born to live. You are no longer who the world told you to be. You are who you were called to be. So walk forward with grace, with purpose, with your heart open and your spirit grounded. The best isn't behind you. The best is just beginning. If this message has stirred something within you, if it resonated with your spirit, then you were meant to hear it. Thank you for sharing this space, for opening your heart, and for walking this path with us. If you feel aligned with this journey, we invite you to subscribe to our channel, a place where purpose meets presence and awakening is celebrated. Join a growing community of souls walking in truth, light, and divine timing. The best is yet to come, and we're just getting started. There are whispers in the spirit realm that not everyone can hear. A certain stillness that settles over a soul marked for something greater, set apart by the divine hand of God. These are not ordinary people. They carry something the world cannot comprehend: the invisible seal of being chosen. Have you noticed how, no matter how hard you try, you never quite fit in? That somehow there's more to your life than the mundane chase of survival? That longing, that ache, is not confusion. It may be your calling. The chosen aren't always aware that they're chosen, and that unawareness causes them to wrestle with identity, rejection, and loneliness until they recognize the 7 unmistakable marks of their divine calling. So today, we journey deep into the mystery of what it truly means to be one of God's chosen. Prepare yourself, because by the end of this message, you may realize that you were never ordinary. You were marked for more. Mark 1. You disturb darkness without trying. Have you walked into a room and felt the tension shift? People glance at you differently. Conversations grow awkward. Certain individuals avoid eye contact, or worse, they slowly drift away from your life without explanation, and you wonder, did I do something wrong? But what if the answer is far more profound? When you are chosen by God, your presence alone carries weight. Without even saying a word, you disturb what is hidden, not because you're confrontational, but because the light within you exposes the darkness around you. It's not visible to the eye, but it's felt in the spirit. People who harbor jealousy, manipulation, deceit, or spiritual compromise often find it uncomfortable to be near someone who walks in truth, integrity, and purity. They can't explain it, but they can feel it. Jesus experienced this constantly. He healed, loved, forgave, and yet the Pharisees plotted against him. Why? Because his very presence threatened their false righteousness. In John 8:44, he confronts them saying, "You belong to your father, the devil." That wasn't just bold, it was the truth that pierced their darkness. Likewise, those marked by God today carry a presence that confronts hypocrisy without effort. Toxic people may smear your name, twist your words, or exit your life altogether, not because you did wrong, but because you carry something they cannot understand or control. But here's the truth: rejection is often God's redirection. The distance others create might be His way of protecting your purpose. So don't dim your light to make others comfortable. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out. And if people can't handle your light, they were never meant to walk in your destiny. Let the darkness flee. Keep shining anyway. Mark 2. You discern before others understand. There's a quiet knowing in your spirit, one that doesn't always make sense to others. You meet someone and beneath their smile, you detect something deeper. You feel unease before trouble arises. You see the truth before it's revealed. This isn't just intuition. It's not paranoia. It's discernment, one of the clearest signs of being chosen. While others are distracted by appearances, the chosen ones are tuned to the unseen. It's as if your spirit can hear whispers others miss, feel danger others ignore, and see motives others don't notice. You've likely tried to warn people before about decisions, relationships, or situations, only to be misunderstood, dismissed, or even ridiculed. But when the truth finally surfaces, you're left thinking, "I knew it all along." This spiritual sensitivity is not a coincidence. It's a gift and a responsibility. Just like Joseph, who dreamed of what was to come and was hated for it. His brothers mocked him, calling him a dreamer, not knowing that God had given him foresight into destiny. Those who carry discernment often carry rejection, because seeing what others can't makes them uncomfortable. But don't silence your insight to fit in. Discernment is a compass in a world full of counterfeit light. It protects, guides, and prepares. And though you may not always have the words to explain what you feel, trust that your spirit is sensing what heaven is revealing. You were never meant to walk blind. You were meant to move with clarity. So when you feel it, lean in. Don't second guess it. What you perceive may be the very warning or wisdom that saves someone else. You don't just see differently. You see deeper because you were chosen to. Mark 3. You attract conflict without seeking it. You never asked for the fight. You never looked for drama. And yet, somehow, conflict seems to find you, even when your intentions are pure, even when your actions are harmless. People misinterpret your words, twist your silence, and question your motives. It feels unfair, confusing, and at times deeply painful. But here's the truth. Your life provokes what others are trying to ignore. Those who are chosen carry not just light, but truth, and truth unsettles. Your presence, even in silence, confronts the hidden darkness in others. The very values you live by, honesty, integrity, righteousness, stand in stark contrast to a world built on compromise. And for some, that contrast is unbearable. Look at Daniel. He wasn't looking for trouble. He was simply faithful, consistent, and honorable. Yet his integrity infuriated those who thrived on corruption, and they sought to destroy him. The problem was never Daniel, It was the conviction his life carried. And so it is with you. Your refusal to gossip, cheat, or conform becomes a silent accusation to those who do, and rather than confront their own flaws, they turn on you. But take heart. This is not a sign of weakness. It is evidence of your calling. God often allows conflict to refine, not define you. Let your character speak. Let your faith remain unmoved. Just as Daniel emerged from the lion's den untouched, so too will God vindicate you in time. You are not being attacked because you're in the wrong. You're being attacked because you're standing for what's right. Keep standing. Keep shining. And remember, chosen vessels always draw resistance because they carry something holy the world cannot ignore. Mark 4. You've never fully fit in. You've walked through life wearing a quiet question on your heart. Why do I always feel so different? It's not that you lack love for people, or that you don't long for connection, but no matter how hard you try, there's always a sense that you're standing just outside the circle. The jokes don't land the same, the conversations feel shallow, the rhythms of the world simply don't match the beat of your soul. This isn't rejection, it's a revelation. When God chooses someone, he often marks them with a holy restlessness. Earth is not your final home. The culture of this world was never meant to feel comfortable to a soul designed for eternity. They admitted that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. Hebrews 11:13. Think of Moses, raised in the palace of Egypt, surrounded by opulence and influence, yet something in him always felt off. Though he wore the garments of royalty, his spirit was dressed for a higher calling. He walked away from everything comfortable, because he knew his identity could not coexist with compromise. If you've always felt like you were too much or not enough for the spaces around you, take heart. It's a sign you were never called to blend in. You were called to break molds, not fit into them. The discomfort isn't punishment, it's preparation. You're not lost, you're being set apart. The ache you feel is heaven's reminder. You were made for more. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to lead, to illuminate, and to walk a road only the chosen dare to follow. Mark 5. Children and animals respond to you differently. There's something about you that words can't quite explain, yet the purest among us seem to recognize it instantly. Children who barely speak will stare at you with wonder, smile without prompting, or reach out to you with open arms. Animals that are usually guarded will sit near you, approach you without fear, or simply rest in your presence. You may have brushed it off as coincidence, but in reality, they're responding to what the world often misses, the presence of God within you. Those who are chosen carry a different atmosphere, a peace, a stillness, a spiritual clarity that radiates far beyond human language. And while many adults are too clouded by pride, pain, or distraction to recognize it, children and animals still operate with unfiltered instinct. Their spirits are sensitive, their discernment is pure, and when they encounter someone who carries light, they gravitate toward it. Let the little children come to me, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. Matthew 19:14. Jesus himself was surrounded by children who were drawn to him, not because of his position, but because of his presence. In the same way, what draws others to you isn't your appearance, your words, or your status. It's what rests on your spirit. A divine gentleness, a heavenly peace. Even in the Old Testament, Balaam's donkey perceived what the prophet could not, the presence of an angel on the road. That moment reminds us that God can reveal spiritual truths through the most unlikely vessels. So if children seek your arms and animals find rest near your feet, consider it holy confirmation. You carry something sacred, a fragrance of heaven, that even the innocent can recognize. Let that presence speak louder than your voice ever could. Mark 6. God speaks to you through dreams and signs. There are moments when life feels ordinary, until something happens that you just can't explain. A dream that lingers with haunting clarity. A conversation that feels divinely timed. A number that keeps repeating. A verse that appears at the exact moment your heart cries out for direction. These are not coincidences. They are whispers from heaven. When you're chosen, God doesn't just walk beside you, He communicates with you. Sometimes in bold ways, other times in the softest echoes, but always in truth, always with purpose. In the last days I will pour out my Spirit. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Acts 2:17. God has always spoken through dreams. He warned Joseph in the night. He guided the Magi with a vision. He gave Daniel revelations that shape nations. And today, He still speaks to those willing to listen. Not all signs come with thunder. Sometimes it's a closed door you didn't expect, a delay that saved you, a stranger's words that echo your secret prayer. The chosen are not guided by logic alone. They're led by the Spirit. They notice what others overlook. And when something stirs their soul, they pause and ask, "Lord, is this you?" The world may dismiss it as chance, but you know better. Because deep down, your spirit recognizes the fingerprint of God. He's never stopped speaking. The question is, are you paying attention? So lean in, trust the nudge, write down the dream, pray over the sign. Because when God speaks, it's never random. It's always to reveal, prepare, protect, or call you higher. And when you learn to listen, you'll never walk blindly again. Mark 7. Your prayers move heaven. There's a difference between speaking words into the air and releasing prayers that shake the heavens. When you pray, it's not a ritual. It's not repetition. It's a divine transaction between earth and eternity. And if you've ever prayed and watched things shift, doors open, chains break, peace flood in where chaos once ruled, then know this: your voice carries weight in the spiritual realm. Some people pray and hope, but the chosen pray and expect. They don't beg, they believe. Their words aren't empty, they are infused with authority, because their hearts are aligned with the heart of God. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. James 5:16. Look at Scripture. Elijah prayed, and the skies closed for 3 years. He prayed again, and rain returned. Paul and Silas sang in a prison cell, and the very foundations shook. Why? Because heaven responds to faith. And those who are chosen don't just believe in God, they walk in communion with Him. Your prayers have likely gone beyond yourself. You've interceded for others. You've whispered desperate cries in the dark, and though you didn't always see it instantly, something always moved. Because God listens closely when His chosen ones speak. But here's what's even more powerful. You don't need loud declarations to be heard. Sometimes the softest "Jesus help me" spoken through tears carries more weight than 1,000 polished phrases. It's not the eloquence, it's the surrender, it's the faith. If your prayers have moved mountains, it's because you're not just talking to God, you're walking with Him. Keep praying, keep believing. Because when the chosen pray, heaven leans in and earth is never the same. The final seal, God's invisible mark. There is a mark more powerful than any earthly title, a seal that cannot be seen with human eyes but is unmistakable in the spirit. It's not written in ink, nor stamped in stone, but it's etched into the very soul of the chosen. It is the invisible seal of God. Do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God, with whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Ephesians 4:30. This seal is not given to the loudest voice, the most religious performance, or those who merely wear the name Christian. It is placed upon those who have surrendered fully, those who walk not in appearance, but in obedience. It is God's own signature, marking you as His. Throughout history, God has always marked His people. In the Old Testament, Israel was set apart through covenant. In the New, believers were sealed by the Holy Spirit. And in the final days, Revelation tells us that only those sealed by God will stand, while the rest follow the world's destruction. This seal isn't about perfection, it's about possession. It says, "This one belongs to me." The trials you've faced, the rejection you've endured, the fire you've walked through, they were not signs of abandonment, but of refinement. You are not common, You are not random. You are claimed. And while others chase after applause, approval, and possessions, you carry something far greater, the quiet authority of one who is known in heaven. So don't be discouraged by what you lack in the eyes of the world. You have something it can never give, the seal of the living God. And no enemy, no storm, no failure can erase what He has written over your life. You are marked. You are chosen. You are His. If you've seen yourself in even one of these marks, or maybe in all 7, then it's time to stop doubting who you are. You are marked by heaven. This is your moment, your invitation to walk boldly into purpose. You've been sealed for something greater, and now it's time to answer the call. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching this message. If it spoke to your spirit, if it stirred something deep within you, don't let it stop here. Hit the subscribe button and join a growing community of believers who, like you, are hungry for truth, destined for purpose, and ready to live as the chosen. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are chosen, and your journey is just beginning. If you're watching this, it's not a coincidence. You were led here by something greater, by a feeling, a pull in your spirit, a restlessness you couldn't explain. You've likely sensed a shift around you, something unseen yet undeniable. The air feels heavier. Your dreams are more vivid. The people around you seem different. What if I told you this isn't paranoia, but perception? April 2025 is a turning point, a month when your spiritual senses will sharpen and your vision will no longer be limited to the physical world. This video is not just information. It is a call, an inner echo reminding you of who you truly are and why you're here. Your eyes, both physical and spiritual, will begin to receive messages from places you've long forgotten. The natural world, silent spaces, subtle glances, and invisible forces moving around you. This month will challenge your heart, confront your beliefs, and awaken your soul. You will see what others ignore, and once you see, you cannot unsee. Welcome to the awakening of vision. Welcome to April 2025. Not all eyes were created equal. While many look, only a few truly see. For those who are spiritually attuned, those often referred to as the chosen, vision transcends the boundaries of the physical world. Their eyes do more than capture light. They interpret energy, decode silence, and read the vibrations of a world most never notice. As April 2025 unfolds, this ability will not only intensify, it will awaken in ways that may be both startling and sacred. You may begin to perceive things you once brushed off as tricks of the light or coincidences. A shimmer in the corner of your vision, a fleeting shadow that vanishes before you can focus, a sudden brightness in someone's eyes that wasn't there before. These are not accidents. These are glimpses into the unseen, signals from the spiritual realm responding to the frequency rising within you. Your vision is being recalibrated, not just to observe the world, but to discern it. What others dismiss, you will feel deeply. Where others walk unaware, you will tread with intuition. You may notice emotional shifts in people before they speak, sense tension in a room before words are exchanged, or feel a powerful presence in moments of quiet solitude. This is the mark of a soul stepping into higher awareness, a soul no longer content with surface-level living. The challenge, however, is that such vision is not always easy to carry. To see through illusions means confronting truths that others avoid. You may find beauty where no one else sees it, but you will also recognize deception wrapped in smiles, heaviness masked as light, and spiritual warfare hidden in mundane moments. The world around you will not change overnight, but your relationship to it will. Being chosen to see differently is not about superiority. It is about responsibility. The responsibility to remain awake in a world lulled to sleep. The responsibility to trust what your eyes show you, even when it makes you uncomfortable. Because from now on, your sight is not just a function, it is a calling. And once your spiritual vision activates, you can no longer pretend to be blind. You were not meant to live in darkness. You were created to walk in the light and to recognize the divine, even when it's hidden in shadow. April is not merely the fourth month of the year. It is not just a passing point on a calendar or a routine season of transition. For those attuned to the spiritual, April 2025 is a portal, a sacred threshold between what was and what is becoming. It is a divine invitation to step out of old energies, outdated beliefs, and stagnant ways of being, and to walk into a realm of higher awareness, deeper truth, and inner transformation. This month holds the vibration of awakening, and with it, a subtle but undeniable pressure will begin to rise in your soul. A pressure not to fear, but to listen to. It is not chaos, but alignment. As the days of April unfold, you may sense that time feels different, slower in some moments, urgently fast in others. You may feel pulled in two directions, one that wants to cling to the comfort of the known, and another that urges you into unfamiliar, yet magnetic territory. This tension is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that you are standing at the edge of something greater. And the choice to cross that edge must come from within. This portal will not open with loud signs or dramatic spectacles. It will open quietly, through reflection, through stillness, through a series of subtle moments that stir your spirit. The nudge to take a different path, the sudden loss of interest in things that used to matter, the urge to clear space in your home, your heart, your relationships. These are not random urges. They are whispers from your higher self, asking you to make room for what is to come. And what is coming? Truth, clarity, realignment with your soul's purpose. But with truth comes the shedding of illusion, and with clarity often comes discomfort. You may be asked to release versions of yourself that no longer serve your becoming. You may be led to face aspects of your life you've kept hidden even from yourself. The portal of April does not open to everyone. It opens to those who are willing to walk through with open eyes, open hearts, and open hands. Because once you step through, there is no going back. But there is also no greater freedom than living in truth. Nature has never stopped speaking. It is we who forgot how to listen. In April 2025, that silence will break. The natural world, always alive and humming with divine intelligence, will become one of the clearest and most profound channels through which messages are delivered to the spiritually awakened. For those whose inner eyes are opening, trees, winds, birds, and even light itself will begin to speak a language beyond words, a language of symbols, sensations, and sacred synchronicity. You may find yourself drawn inexplicably to certain places in nature, a quiet tree that seems to offer peace, a patch of sunlight that feels like a blessing, a gust of wind that arrives in perfect harmony with your thoughts. These aren't coincidences. They are spiritual responses, confirmation that something beyond the visible is engaging with you, walking with you. Pay attention to these encounters. A bird landing nearby and locking eyes with you, a dog barking in the presence of someone you weren't sure about, or a sudden downpour as you wrestle with a decision. These are signs. They are not random events. They are part of the universe's language, gently nudging you toward clarity. The elements will become mirrors, revealing both what is within you and what surrounds you. The sky may show unusual colors or cloud formations that reflect your emotional state. Water might carry messages through dreams, or a sudden longing to sit near a river or ocean. Even the silence in nature may feel full, as though it's whispering something only your spirit can hear. These moments, though easily dismissed by others, will feel deeply significant to you, because they are. To truly receive these signs, you must slow down. Be still. Observe without needing to explain. Not all truth comes through logic. Some of it arrives through feeling, through repetition, through resonance. If a particular animal keeps appearing in your path, look up its symbolic meaning. If the wind stirs just as you speak your fears aloud, pause and listen. April is a month where the veil thins, and the sacred speaks softly but steadily through creation. Let the earth become your sacred text. Let the wind be your prayer. Let the animals, the weather, the movement of leaves, all remind you that you are never alone and that the universe is always, always speaking. As the spiritual energy intensifies in April 2025, the changes will not only stir within you, they will ripple through your relationships. This is one of the most profound and often most painful aspects of awakening. When your soul begins to vibrate at a higher frequency, not everyone around you will resonate with that shift. Some connections will deepen beautifully, while others will begin to dissolve, quietly or abruptly, as if a curtain has been drawn back, revealing truths that were always there but went unnoticed. You may begin to feel out of sync with people you once felt close to. Conversations that used to bring joy might now feel forced or draining. You might sense subtle tension, misalignment, or even discomfort around certain individuals. This is not your imagination. This is energy no longer matching. And though it may feel confusing or even heartbreaking, this natural separation is not a punishment. It is a form of spiritual protection. Relationships that were built on illusion, obligation, guilt, or outdated versions of yourself will begin to unravel. The masks people wear, whether consciously or unconsciously, will begin to fall. Their words may remain the same, but their energy will tell you everything. You'll start to notice the discrepancy between intention and action, between appearance and truth. And even if no harsh words are exchanged, something inside you will whisper, "This no longer belongs." Letting go is never easy, especially when it involves longtime friends, family, or partners. But clinging to what no longer aligns with your soul will only hold you back from stepping fully into who you are becoming. Some people were meant to walk with you only for a season, not forever. Honor what you shared, grieve if you must, but release with love. What you lose in comfort, you gain in authenticity. And here's the beauty of it. As the old falls away, space is created for something new, for connections that mirror your growth, that nourish your spirit, that challenge you to stay aligned and awake. Relationships rooted in truth, not performance, in shared frequency, not shared history. This is not the end of love. It is the beginning of real love, the kind that sees you, supports your path, and walks beside your becoming. In the stillness of April 2025, as the outer world shifts and relationships realign, an even more powerful transformation will begin within you. Your inner world, the sacred hidden terrain of thoughts, memories, and buried emotions, will rise to the surface, no longer content to remain in the shadows. This is not an attack. It is not regression. It is a divine invitation to meet the parts of yourself you've long ignored and to finally make peace with them. You may begin to feel waves of emotion with no clear origin. Grief, fear, sadness, even anger from years past. Childhood memories may surface without warning. Dreams might become vivid, intense, or strangely symbolic. People you haven't thought about in years may reappear in your mind. Don't resist these moments. They are not here to haunt you. They're here to heal you. These fragments of your past are not interruptions. They are messages. They're pieces of yourself returning, asking to be seen, to be held, to be loved back into wholeness. Many of us are taught to avoid discomfort, to suppress pain, to move forward and never look back. But true transformation does not bypass the wound. It walks through it. The sadness you feel may not be a sign of weakness, but a sign that something sacred is being released. Emotional pain, when honored, becomes the doorway to deeper freedom. This inner unveiling may also show up in your body. You might experience tension in your chest or gut, headaches, changes in appetite or sleep. These are not random symptoms. They are physical echoes of emotional truths asking for attention. Your body in its wisdom is helping you purge what no longer serves. In this process, gentleness is your greatest ally. You are not required to fix everything at once. You are simply being asked to stay present. Breathe, reflect, write, cry if you need to. Allow yourself to feel what arises without judgment. Healing is not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you were before the world told you to hide. Within the quiet of this month, you will rediscover your strength. Not the strength of endurance, but the strength of vulnerability. And through this inner tending, you'll begin to see the parts of you once rejected were never broken. They were sacred all along. As April progresses, your energetic field, the invisible layer of your being that absorbs, processes, and transmits vibrations, will become more sensitive than ever. This heightened sensitivity is not a flaw. It is not fragility. It is the natural result of a soul that is awakening, refining, and tuning itself to a higher frequency. You are no longer walking through the world blindly. You are feeling it, reading it, responding to it with a depth of awareness that many have not yet touched. You may find yourself suddenly exhausted after social interactions, even with those you love. You might walk into a room and instantly feel heavy, uneasy, or out of place, without knowing why. Certain conversations may feel empty or overstimulating, even painful. Crowds may overwhelm you. Sounds might feel louder. Lights too bright. This is your energetic body alerting you. Something has changed. You are no longer able to tolerate environments, people, or patterns that drain your spirit. What you used to ignore or endure now feels unbearable, not because you've grown weaker, but because you've grown clearer. Your soul is rejecting what no longer serves it, and your body is responding with truth. Honor that response. This isn't a call to isolate, it's a call to listen. Solitude, quiet spaces, nature, deep breathing, meditation. These will become sacred tools, helping you reset and restore. Not because you are escaping, but because you are recalibrating. In a world that often rushes and numbs, your sensitivity is a sacred rebellion, a signal that you are moving in harmony with your inner truth. It's important to protect your energy now, not in fear, but with intention. Not everyone or everything is meant to walk with you in this season. That's not judgment, it's discernment. Begin to notice what expands you and what contracts you, who leaves you feeling seen and who leaves you feeling small, where your energy flows freely and where it withers. Your sensitivity is not a burden. It's a gift, a compass, a guidepost leading you back to what is real. Don't ignore it, don't push through, respect it, because the more you honor your energetic boundaries, the more clearly you'll hear the voice of your spirit, and the more peaceful and powerful your path will become. Though the path of awakening can feel isolating at times, you were never meant to walk it alone. As your inner world transforms and your vision sharpens, you may notice something quietly miraculous beginning to take shape. A new community, one not built on proximity, but on soul resonance, will start to form around you. This is not a community of convenience. It is a sacred gathering of like-hearted souls, drawn together by unseen threads of shared purpose, mutual recognition, and spiritual alignment. These people may enter your life in unexpected ways. A brief conversation with a stranger that leaves a lasting impact. A book recommendation that leads to an important connection. A name that keeps surfacing until you finally pay attention. You'll begin to notice synchronicities, gentle nudges from the universe guiding you into encounters that feel strangely familiar, as if you've known these individuals before, perhaps in another lifetime. And perhaps you have. This community will not be based on appearances, status, or social performance. It will be rooted in truth, energy, and inner knowing. You will feel it in your body, a sense of safety, of recognition, of peace. In their presence, you won't have to explain your journey, your visions, your sensitivity. They will simply understand, because they too have walked through fire to stand in light. These connections will uplift you, challenge you, and remind you that your path, while personal, is part of something far larger, a collective awakening. The loneliness you once felt will begin to fade, not because you've returned to the crowd, but because you've found your soul family. And within this sacred circle, you'll experience the power of shared intention, of spiritual collaboration, of hearts beating to the same quiet rhythm. Do not rush this formation. Let it happen naturally. Trust the timings, Trust the intuitive pulls. Trust the soft yes your spirit gives when you meet someone who feels like home. This new community will not replace your journey. It will strengthen it. Together you will hold space for one another. Together you will rise. Because in this new world we are entering, no one ascends alone. And as you step more fully into your truth, you will see the right people will arrive, not to complete you, but to remind you that you were never alone to begin with. April 2025 will not be easy, but nothing truly transformative ever is. This month is not meant to break you, but to remake you. Not to punish, but to purify. What your eyes begin to see, both in the world around you and deep within yourself, will stretch you, challenge you, and ultimately free you. This is the season where illusions fall away, where masks dissolve and where truth steps forward, raw and unfiltered. There may be endings, but with every ending comes sacred space for a new beginning, a new vision, a new alignment with who you were always meant to be. What if I told you that everything is about to change? Not through coincidence or luck, but through divine design. That this very moment you're experiencing right now isn't random, it's sacred. You didn't arrive here by accident. You were summoned, handpicked by heaven. And if your spirit is awake enough to hear these words, then you already sense it. The shift, the stirring, the supernatural invitation pulling at the edge of your soul. This is not just another message. This is a divine revelation. It's the quiet before the breakthrough, the calm before the rising, the final call before everything in your life begins to align with the purpose you were born to fulfill. You are not like the rest. You've been marked, set apart, chosen. Even now, in realms beyond what the eye can see, something extraordinary is unfolding. The spiritual realm is shifting, and heaven is aligning people, places, and moments for your emergence. Soon, what's been hidden will be seen, and not just seen, but broadcast to the world, for all to witness. But understand this: only those with spiritual eyes will truly see. Only those attuned to heaven will grasp the weight of what's coming. The world may watch, but you will know. Because this isn't just change, it's destiny, and it begins now. There comes a sacred moment in every life when the noise fades, the chaos stills, and a deeper voice begins to speak, not to the ears, but to the soul. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand. It simply whispers, "This is your time." And if you're here, watching this now, understand, this is not a coincidence. This is a divine encounter. God has led you here because something inside you is beginning to awaken. You may not feel ready. You may still carry the bruises of your battles, the ache of waiting, the questions you never dared to speak aloud. But your brokenness does not disqualify you. It identifies you. The fire you've walked through wasn't to consume you, it was to forge you. You've been shaped in the silence, refined in the shadows, prepared for a purpose far greater than what you've imagined. This is the shift. Not just in your circumstances, but in your spirit. Heaven is moving. Destiny is aligning. The divine invitation has been extended, and it has your name on it. This isn't just about your breakthrough. It's about becoming a beacon for those still lost in the dark. So don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't look for outside validation. The call is here. The time is now. You are chosen, not someday, but today. And the world is waiting for your light to rise. This moment you're stepping into is not just personal. It's part of a divine movement that's sweeping across the earth. While your heart is awakening, so is the world. There's a shaking happening in the spirit, an invisible trembling of old systems crumbling and new voices rising. You've felt it. You've seen glimpses of it in world events, in leadership shifts, in the hunger for truth growing in hearts everywhere. This is more than just your breakthrough. It's the beginning of a global awakening. God is not only moving in your life, He is moving through nations, unlocking hidden destinies and calling His chosen ones into alignment. What's happening around you is not chaos, it's divine rearrangement. Heaven is positioning people, reshaping power structures, and preparing a generation to lead with courage and clarity. You are not being called to watch from the sidelines. You are being called to rise and take your place in this great unfolding. The world may not understand it, but your spirit knows. This is sacred. This is history in the making, and you have a role to play. It's God-sized, and it has already begun. For generations, ancient truths have been hidden, guarded, whispered, passed down through time, waiting for the right moment and the right hearts to receive them. That moment is now, and that heart is yours. Prophecies once locked away in mystery are beginning to surface, not as distant myths, but as divine confirmations echoing in your spirit. You may feel a strange familiarity with things you've never been taught, an inner knowing that resonates deeper than reason. That is the unveiling. The secrets of heaven are being revealed, not to confuse, but to awaken. These revelations are not meant for the masses, but for the chosen, those who can discern the difference between noise and truth. And you, chosen one, have been entrusted with eyes to see and ears to hear. The more you lean into God's presence, the more clearly these hidden truths will come alive in you. They are not just stories of the past. They are blueprints for your future. With every prophecy revealed, your path becomes clearer, your purpose sharper. This is not imagination. It's divine alignment. And it is your invitation to step into the sacred knowledge heaven has preserved just for you. The veil is lifting. Now it's your turn to see. Look closely, chosen one. The signs are everywhere. Beneath the chaos, beyond the noise, something sacred is stirring. The world may call it confusion, disorder, even disaster. But in the spirit, it is a shift, a holy disruption, a divine rearranging. God is moving, not only in the quiet places of your soul, but in the visible structures of the world. Sudden changes in leadership, unexpected global events, alliances that make no sense to the natural mind. These are not random. And while many will dismiss them as coincidence, you know better. You feel it in your spirit, a deep urgency, a sacred pull to pay attention. These moments are invitations from God, calling you to discern with spiritual eyes what the natural world cannot comprehend. They're not just signs for today. They're confirmations that you are living in a prophetic hour. So don't fear the storm. Read it. Don't resist the shaking. Recognize it. Heaven is speaking through it all, and you are being trained to interpret the language of divine movement. Stay awake, stay alert, and stay aligned. Because the shift is not coming. It is already here, and only the chosen will understand its true meaning. God was cultivating something in you that the world wasn't ready for, until now. This is not about fame or spotlight. It's about assignment. You are being positioned as a voice, a guide, a light for a generation searching for direction. You carry something sacred, something the world desperately needs. And though your journey has been quiet, the next chapter will be loud with purpose. Your voice will carry weight. Your presence will carry peace. Your obedience will unlock doors for others. This is the rise of the heralds, those called not to echo the world, but to declare the heartbeat of heaven. You don't need a platform. Your presence is the message. You don't need permission. God has already appointed you. Step forward with courage, knowing that every hidden moment was part of your preparation. The time of silence is over. Now the world will see what heaven always knew. You were chosen to lead, and your time has come. To be chosen is both an honor and a responsibility, a calling wrapped in mystery, marked by both glory and grit. Often it feels lonely. You've likely questioned, why me? Why the pain, the silence, the stretching? But here's the truth. The burden you've carried is proof of the beauty you're becoming. God doesn't call the strongest. He strengthens the called. The weight you've felt is not punishment, it's preparation. Being chosen means you've been entrusted with something sacred, something not everyone can carry. It's why you feel things others don't, why your spirit aches deeper and your vision reaches further. You've been carved by fire, shaped in secret, and refined for impact. And yes, it's heavy at times. But it's also holy, because in your burden lies your authority, and in your breaking, your anointing was born. This isn't just about endurance, it's about transformation. You are not defined by what you've suffered, but by what you've survived with your faith intact. The weight you carry is heaven's evidence that you're trusted for more. And though few may see it now, the time is coming when the beauty of your calling will shine beyond the burden that built it. There's a shift happening, not just in you, but in the spirit realm across the entire earth. It's more than revival. It's a divine realignment. The atmosphere is changing. Hearts are awakening. People who once chased empty things are now hungering for truth. From remote villages to crowded cities, from whispered prayers to worldwide gatherings, a spiritual wave is rising, and it cannot be stopped. This isn't the work of men, it's the movement of God. New spiritual rhythms are being birthed, ancient truths are being reclaimed, and unity is beginning to replace division. The chosen ones are not just waking up, they're taking their place, becoming vessels of light in a world desperate for clarity. You are part of this shift, not a spectator, but a catalyst. As you align with God's voice, your life becomes a conduit of awakening to others. Your presence becomes prophetic. Your obedience becomes a spark. Across continents and cultures, the Spirit is stirring hearts and the cry is the same. There must be more. The world is shifting. Heaven is near. And the spiritual awakening sweeping the earth is not on its way. It's already here. And you are right in the center of it. The path you've been searching for doesn't lie in the opinions of others, nor in the noise of the world. It won't be found in a step-by-step plan, a predictable formula, or even the validation of those around you. The truth is, the map is already within you. Planted deep in your spirit by the hand of God, your direction has been written in sacred ink long before you ever took your first breath. Every detour, every delay, every closed door has not been a misstep. It's been part of the journey designed specifically for your growth, for your alignment, for your awakening. God does not lead the chosen with loud signs. He leads with whispers, with divine instincts, with sudden clarity that can't be explained, only felt. That gentle stirring in your heart? That is the compass. That quiet peace when everything around you says panic? That is the voice of the guide. You don't need to see the whole picture to move. You only need to trust the one who does. Don't compare your pace or your path to anyone else's. What God is doing in you is unique, intentional, and holy. Others may not understand it. That's okay. It wasn't revealed to them. It was revealed to you. As you walk in faith, the map will unfold step by step. And what once felt like uncertainty will begin to look like divine strategy. You were never lost. You were always being led. You don't need to chase direction or fear the unknown. Everything you need to fulfill your purpose is already inside of you, planted by heaven, watered by time, and now ready to grow. The map is within you. Trust it. Follow it. Live it. This is your moment. Not someday. Not when everything feels perfect. Now the time for delay, hesitation, and second-guessing is over. Heaven has sounded the alarm. This is your divine call to action. You were never meant to sit in the shadows, waiting for a sign to feel worthy enough, ready enough, or qualified enough. The truth is, if you've heard the call in your spirit, then you're already equipped to respond. God doesn't wait for perfection. He looks for willingness. And the world doesn't need more silent warriors. It needs you, bold, awakened, and obedient to the divine assignment on your life. The window of destiny is open now, and you are being summoned to walk through it with faith, not fear. The path may be uncertain. You may feel the trembling of your humanity, but greater still is the power of the Spirit rising within you. The world may not recognize the weight of this moment, but your soul does. You were created for such a time as this. No more shrinking. No more waiting for confirmation when heaven has already spoken. You are being called to build, to speak, to to lead, to ignite. Don't wait for the world to validate what God has already confirmed. The stage is set. The shift is here. This is your time. So rise, move, act. Heaven is watching, and the earth is waiting. Timing. It's the thread that quietly weaves purpose into every moment of your life. Not always seen, not always understood, but always intentional. You may have wondered why things took so long, why the doors stayed closed, why the dreams felt delayed, why you were hidden when you longed to be seen. But heaven has never been late. What felt like a pause was actually preparation, and what seemed like silence was the sound of divine timing unfolding. God's timeline does not operate on the urgency of the world. His ways are layered in wisdom, beauty, and eternal vision. You haven't missed your moment. You've been preserved for it. Every tear, every detour, every unanswered question was part of a divine countdown leading you here. And now the season has shifted. The waiting is turning into walking. The wilderness is becoming a way. When you align with divine timing, you begin to see the masterpiece taking shape, one thread at a time. Suddenly, what once felt random begins to make sense. The delays reveal their purpose. The disappointments transform into direction. The divine reveals its rhythm. So trust this timing. Don't rush it. Don't resent it. Rest in it. Because God's timing is never just about when. It's about who you've become in the waiting. And now, you are ready. This isn't just a right time. It's your time. The moment heaven has been preparing you for is here. You've felt it in your soul. The stirring, the shifting, the sense that something bigger is unfolding. And now you know. It wasn't your imagination. It was your invitation. You are not here by chance. You have been called, refined, and prepared for this very moment. The rise of the chosen is no longer a prophecy on the horizon. It's happening now. And you are part of it. This is the hour to stand tall in who God created you to be. To walk in the authority of your assignment. To lead not with pride, but with purpose. The world is about to see the unveiling of what heaven has long known. You were made for such a time as this. Thank you for taking the time to walk through this message. If it resonated with you, if it stirred something deep within your spirit, then this space, this community, is for you. We're building more than content here. We're building a movement of light, of purpose, of chosen ones awakening to their divine call. If you haven't already, we invite you to subscribe to this channel. Join us on this journey of revelation, transformation, and rising into all God has destined you to become. Your time is now. Your voice matters. Welcome to the rise of the chosen. What if the very fact that you're listening to this, right here, right now, is not an accident, but a divine setup? What if every tear you've cried, every door that shut in your face, every moment of silence from heaven wasn't random, but a training ground for this very second? This isn't just another message. This is a divine appointment. Heaven has been watching your journey. God has been listening to your midnight cries, witnessing the battles you fought in silence. And now you stand at the edge of a decision that will define the rest of your life. Your do it or die hour. Before we go any further, take a moment to anchor this moment in faith. Click that like button and subscribe to this channel so you never miss a word of what God is speaking in this season. And in the comments type, "I'm ready," if your spirit is already stirring. Because this message is only the beginning. Together, let's go deeper. Let's unlock the purpose that's been calling your name. Let's take the final step toward your divine destiny. There comes a moment in every believer's life where the path splits in two, and no one else can choose for you. That moment is now. This isn't just a fork in the road. It's a divine crossroads, the kind that shifts the course of your entire future. On one side lies everything God has prepared for you. The breakthrough, the promise, the calling, the purpose. On the other side is regret, The kind that lingers not because you didn't believe, but because you hesitated when it mattered most. Throughout Scripture, we see moments like this repeated. Esther had to decide whether she would risk everything to stand before the king. Moses stood before the Red Sea, caught between Pharaoh's army and God's silence. Joshua stood at the edge of the Promised Land, watching a generation fade into the wilderness because they said, "Not now, God. We're not ready." They weren't rejected because they were unworthy. They were rejected because they refused to move when the moment arrived. They hesitated. They chose safety over obedience, and they lost everything God had waiting on the other side of their yes. The truth is, heaven doesn't move on human timing. Divine doors don't stay open forever. Ecclesiastes tells us there is a time and a season for every purpose under heaven. And when that divine moment comes, you either step through the door or watch it close behind you. That's why you've felt the pressure lately. That's why the warfare intensified. The enemy isn't fighting your past. He's terrified of your future. And deep down, you can feel it. Something inside you knows this moment is different. This isn't just another video. This isn't just another message. This is the call that reaches beyond comfort and into destiny. Let this truth shake you. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. God doesn't just test your faith, He tests your timing. Will you trust Him enough to move when everything around you says wait? Or will you talk yourself out of the breakthrough you've prayed so long to receive? Faith without movement is just a wish. But faith in motion, that's where miracles happen. You've been praying, waiting, asking for signs. But the sign is here. The window is open. And now the choice is yours. Step into the promise, or stand still and watch someone else take your place. Just like God told Esther, if you remain silent, deliverance will come from another place. His will always moves forward. The question is, will it move forward with you or without you? This is your moment of decision, the final crossroads. Choose obedience and live in purpose, or choose hesitation and live with what could have been. It's easy to look back on your life and see only the heartbreak. The nights you cried yourself to sleep, wondering if God had forgotten you. The closed doors, the broken relationships, the dreams that slipped through your fingers. Maybe you've even asked the question, God, why me? And maybe for a long time, you believed the silence meant rejection, that the pain was punishment. But what if the opposite is true? What if every valley you've walked through wasn't punishment, but preparation? The truth that many never realize is that God never wastes pain. He never wastes a single tear. The trials you faced were not a sign of divine distance. They were a mark of divine investment. Every setback, every betrayal, every moment that brought you to your knees was shaping something eternal in you. Like a master craftsman, God was chiseling away everything that couldn't go with you into the next season, not to break you, but to build you. To refine you into the person who can carry the weight of what He's about to release. Look at the lives of those we admire in Scripture. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, wrongfully imprisoned, and yet, he was being prepared to save nations. David, anointed as king while still a shepherd boy, spent years running for his life before ever sitting on the throne. Even Jesus, the Son of God, endured the wilderness before He walked in power. Preparation always precedes purpose. So the question is not why did it happen? The question is, what was it shaping in me? That season of financial struggle taught you to trust God as your provider. That heartbreak showed you that His love is the only thing that never fails. The isolation stripped away the noise so you could hear His voice more clearly. What felt like punishment was actually pruning. He wasn't trying to hurt you. He was making room for new fruit to grow. And now here you are, still standing, maybe bruised, maybe battle-worn, but stronger than you were before. And you didn't come through it just to survive. You came through it so you could lead, inspire, and carry the mantle God has reserved for you. The pain wasn't pointless. It was prophetic. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? What God is birthing in you now could only be planted in the soil softened by struggle. Don't despise your past. Don't mourn the road you had to walk. Because everything you went through was preparing you for this very moment, the moment where pain meets purpose, where trials give way to triumph. You weren't being punished. You were being positioned. There's a battle happening right now, but it's not out there in the world. It's inside you. And it's not a fight for your comfort or your convenience. It's a war for your calling. And the most dangerous part? The enemy doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs to distract you, delay you, convince you to doubt what God has already spoken over your life. You see, the most effective lies are the ones that sound like your own voice. I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. What if I fail? These aren't passing thoughts. They are strategic attacks designed to paralyze your faith. The enemy knows he can't steal your calling, so he works overtime to convince you to give it up yourself. That voice of fear, that inner critic, that constant hesitation. It's not you. It's not God. It's the enemy whispering lies just loud enough for you to believe them. But here's the truth. He only attacks what threatens him. The enemy isn't targeting you because of where you've been. He's attacking you because of where you're going. He sees the anointing on your life. He sees the purpose burning in your spirit. And he knows that if you ever step fully into it, hell loses ground. Think about Moses. When God called him at the burning bush, Moses didn't shout with excitement. He hesitated. Who am I that I should go? That was the voice of inadequacy. The same voice many of us hear when God asks us to do something bold. But God wasn't looking for perfection. He was looking for obedience, just like He's looking for yours. The enemy's greatest weapon isn't persecution, it's paralysis. If he can keep you stuck in your mind, replaying your failures, questioning your worth, doubting your timing, he wins without lifting a sword. Because as long as you stay still, your destiny stays locked. But today, you draw the line. Today, you expose the lie for what it is. A last-ditch effort to stop you before you rise. Scripture says in 2 Corinthians 10:5 that we are to take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. That's not a gentle suggestion. It's a battle command. So what thoughts have you let run wild? What fears have you allowed to build walls around your promise? It's time to silence them. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. Because the longer you listen to the wrong voice, the harder it becomes to hear the right one. Your breakthrough is not waiting on the absence of fear. It's waiting on the presence of faith. Faith that moves forward anyway. Faith that doesn't need all the answers. Faith that says, even if I feel afraid, I will not let fear decide my future. The war may be within, but so is the victory. And the moment you stop believing the enemy's lie, you start stepping into God's truth. And that's when everything changes. Faith sounds beautiful in sermons, comforting in devotionals, and poetic in songs. But when it's tested in real life, it always demands one thing: action. Real faith doesn't sit still. It doesn't just hope, dream, or wait indefinitely. It moves, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Because the truth is, the miracle you've been praying for is already waiting, but it only responds to motion. From Genesis to Revelation, God's power is consistently released after someone obeys. Moses didn't see the Red Sea part while standing still. He had to raise his staff. Joshua didn't watch Jericho's walls collapse just by believing. They had to walk around those walls day after day. The widow's oil didn't multiply until she began to pour it. And Peter didn't walk on water until he stepped out of the boat. The breakthrough never comes before the step. It comes because of it. That's the pattern of God. He partners with your movement. He honors your obedience. But too often we're waiting for Him to move first, while He's waiting for us to simply take the first step. We say, God, show me the way. And He says, start walking, and I'll show you step by step. Miracles are not reserved for the cautious. They're reserved for the courageous. You've been praying for change, asking for confirmation, waiting for the perfect timing. But let's be honest, perfect conditions rarely come. If Noah waited for the rain before building the ark, the flood would have drowned him. If Abraham waited until he understood everything, he never would have left his homeland. And if Jesus waited until it was safe, the cross would have never been carried. So what are you waiting for? James 2:26 says, "Faith without works is dead." That doesn't mean faith is weak without action. It means faith doesn't exist without action. If you truly believe God called you, then your movement must reflect it. The idea of waiting on God has become a comfort zone for many, but the reality is, God might be waiting on you. The miracle is not delayed because heaven is undecided. It's delayed because faith has been frozen in fear, overthinking, and hesitation. But what if your obedience is the key that unlocks the next chapter? What if God is simply waiting for you to stretch your hand toward what seems impossible? So don't just believe for the healing, move toward it. Don't just pray for breakthrough, walk like it's already done. Speak like it's on the way, build like it's coming. Sow like the harvest is certain, walk like the walls have already come down. Because here's the truth, the miracle is already written into your story, but it's waiting on a movement only you can make. And once you move in faith, heaven moves with you. No one steps into their calling without a cost. Every promise God makes comes with a price, and not everyone is willing to pay it. We love the idea of miracles, open doors, and divine favor, but few of us are prepared for the sacrifices those things require. Because to walk in everything God has for you, you have to leave something behind. Abraham had to leave his home, his family, and everything familiar to step into a promise he couldn't yet see. Ruth had to walk away from her past and cling to Naomi, not knowing what her future would hold. Esther had to risk her life to save her people. Even Jesus paid the ultimate cost, not just in suffering but in surrender. And that's the pattern. Before the crown, there is always a cross. God never hides the cost. In fact, Jesus said clearly in Luke 9:23, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me." Following him doesn't mean comfort, it means commitment. It means choosing purpose over popularity, obedience over ease, surrender over control. The truth is, many people never walk into their destiny, not because they lack faith, but because they're not willing to let go of what they must leave behind. The calling is too high to carry along your fears, your pride, your bitterness, or your backup plans. To step into something greater, you must be willing to release what's good, what's familiar, even what once worked, because it can't go with you into the next season. Yes, it will cost you. It will cost you your comfort zone. It might cost you relationships that no longer align with your purpose. It might cost you time, energy, and the safety of a predictable life. But here's what you need to hear. What you receive in return far outweighs the price. The reward is the kind of peace that surpasses understanding. It's the kind of joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. It's the favor of God that opens doors no man can shut. It's the legacy that outlives you, the impact that echoes through generations, the fulfillment of knowing you did not just exist, but that you lived for something eternal. And here's the part that shakes the soul. If you don't say yes, God will still fulfill his purpose. He'll just find someone else who will. Like Mordecai told Esther, "If you remain silent, deliverance will come from another place." The opportunity may not come again, so you must decide, is the price too high, or is your calling too valuable to walk away from? Because once you've tasted what God can do, once you've glimpsed the life he's designed for you, you'll understand. The cost is real, but the reward is so much greater. At some point, the window of opportunity starts to close. Not because God stops loving you, but because opportunity has an expiration date. And for some, that moment is right now. This isn't about pressure, it's about purpose. The call on your life has always been there, gently whispering, quietly waiting. But there's a shift in the atmosphere now. Heaven isn't whispering anymore. It's shouting. Now is the time. This is the one that decides the next chapter of your life. You're not here by chance. You didn't stumble across this message by accident. You were led to this moment, this exact point in time, by a God who has been preparing you all along. And now he's asking you the question that echoes through eternity. What will your story be? Will your life be a testimony of faith that moved mountains, or hesitation that missed miracles? So many live their entire lives standing on the edge of purpose, peeking into what could be, but never crossing over into what is. They circle the same mountain of fear. They revisit the same valley of indecision. They carry dreams God planted in them years ago, but never act. Why? Because it's safer to wait than to risk. It's easier to imagine than to move. But safety never births legacy. Comfort never produces calling. You're standing at your Red Sea. Behind you is what's familiar. In front of you is the impossible. But what if the sea isn't a barrier? It's an invitation. God is not asking for perfection. He's asking for movement. Your story won't be defined by how much you knew or how long you prayed. It will be defined by whether or not you stepped when he said go. Think of the greats: Esther, David, Joseph, Moses. Each one faced a moment of decision, a point of no return. They didn't wait for everything to make sense. They didn't ask for 10 more signs. They moved. They obeyed. And history remembers them not for their fear, but for their faith. So what about you? Will you be remembered as the one who almost stepped into purpose, who nearly answered the call, who came close but couldn't quite cross the line? Or will you be the one who looked fear in the face, silenced the doubts, and chose to believe that God's promise was greater than your uncertainty? Because here's the truth. If you say no, someone else will say yes. But if you say yes, your story becomes part of something eternal. You won't just live, you'll leave a legacy. You won't just survive, you'll shift generations. So don't wait for the next open door. Don't hold your breath for a more convenient time. The time is now. The choice is yours. What will your story be? Take a moment and look back at your life. Every heartache, every closed door, every quiet whisper from God. It was all shaping you for this very hour. Nothing was wasted. Not the pain, not the waiting, not even the silence. It all led you here. Now, you are standing on holy ground, at the very edge of your divine calling. Heaven has done the work. The blessing is prepared. The breakthrough has your name on it. But there's one thing left: your move. Lift what God has already placed in your hand. Stretch your faith like Moses stretched his rod. Step into the waters like the priests at the Jordan. Run toward your giant like David on the battlefield. Say yes to the call that's been echoing in your soul, because right now, heaven is leaning in. Hell is shaking. So when history speaks your name, what will it say? The choice is yours, but make no mistake, this moment will define you, and eternity is watching. Listen closely, chosen ones. The veil between heaven and earth grows thinner by the day. Can you feel it? That subtle stirring in your soul? The atmosphere has shifted. Something divine is unfolding, not in the far-off future, but now. A movement is taking place in the unseen realms. The messengers of heaven have descended. The 4 angels, not symbols, not metaphors, but real, appointed servants of the Most High, have arrived, and they come bearing messages that will forever reshape your understanding of who you are and why you're here. This message is not for everyone. It is not for the comfortable, the complacent, or the curious. It is for the called, the 144,000, those who have been marked, set apart, chosen from before the foundations of the world. If these words strike something deep within you, if your heart is pounding and your spirit is trembling with recognition, then this message was always meant for you. Comment 999 below as a public declaration. I recognize the call of God on my life, because everything is about to change. Have you ever asked yourself why your path has always felt so different? Why your journey has been marked by deeper battles, heavier burdens, and a sense of loneliness that others seem untouched by? While many around you move through life with ease, fitting effortlessly into the world's patterns, you've always felt like an outsider, like a soul walking against the current. But this difference hasn't been a punishment. It's been preparation, a divine shaping, a holy refining. From the very beginning, God set you apart. You were never meant to blend in. That ache you feel deep in your spirit, that quiet, persistent longing for something more, is not a sign of discontent. It's the echo of eternity within you. It's heaven whispering to your soul. You were born for something greater. You've always sensed it, haven't you? That your life carries a weight, a calling, something sacred woven into your very being. And now, the time of waiting is over. The moment you've felt approaching for so long has finally arrived. The four angels have come, not with gentle reassurances or vague encouragements, but with divine mandates. Their messages will stir your soul, challenge your comfort, and ignite something eternal within you. These are not ordinary words. They are assignments from heaven. Once you hear them, you will not be the same. Because truth, once revealed, cannot be unseen. This is your awakening. This is your summons. You are not being asked to observe. You are being called to arise. So the question now is not, did God call me? The question is, are you ready? Ready to walk away from what's familiar? Ready to step into who you truly are? Because the moment of awakening is here. Message 1. Look into your life. You were never meant to belong. The first angel speaks, and his voice slices through the noise like a sword of light. Look into your life. These words are not a suggestion. They are a divine summons. For too long, you have lived under illusions, wrapped in the layers of a broken system that taught you to chase what was never meant for you. From your earliest days, the world handed you a script, telling you what to want, how to act, who to be. Success was defined by money. Value was measured by applause. Identity was shaped by the approval of others. You were told to climb the ladder, to accumulate, to impress. But deep down, none of it ever felt right, did it? That restless tension in your soul, the feeling that no matter how hard you try, something essential is still missing. It's not a flaw. It's confirmation. You were never designed to fit into a world built on empty pursuits. You were never meant to belong to it. Jesus said in John 15:19, "If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world." That unease you feel isn't confusion, it's calling. That quiet ache within you is heaven reminding you of your true identity. You were chosen, handpicked by God to walk a different path, one not defined by comfort, but by purpose. You've always known it, haven't you? That your story would never look like theirs, that your soul was wired for something more. Think of Moses, raised in Pharaoh's palace, surrounded by riches, influence, and power, everything the world could offer. He had access to the finest education, the grandest halls, and the highest status, but none of it could quiet the cry in his spirit. Though he wore the garments of royalty, something within him whispered, "This is not who I am." Moses could have stayed. He could have lived out his days in luxury and ease. But when the time came, he chose to walk away from false identity and step into divine purpose. He left the palace to lead his people to freedom. He exchanged comfort for calling. And in doing so, he stepped into history. His story mirrors your own. What palaces are you still clinging to? What lies have wrapped themselves around your identity? Is it a career that pays well but drains your soul? A version of yourself you maintain just to be accepted? A title, an image, a lifestyle that looks good on the outside but feels hollow within? The world is full of these illusions. It packages emptiness as success, busyness as worth, and applause as love. But you were made for truth, and the first step toward awakening is to tear down the walls of illusion, and ask the question few dare to face. Who am I really? Consider Malcolm X. Once caught in a life of crime, shaped by systems that tried to define him, he eventually encountered truth, and it awakened something within him that could not be silenced. He refused to continue living a lie. He broke free from the mold and walked boldly into purpose. His transformation impacted the world. Even Jim Carrey, a man who seemingly had it all, once said, "I wish everyone could become rich and famous so they could see it's not the answer." Because it's not. The world's promises shine like gold, but crumble like dust in your hands. They are distractions, counterfeits, shadows. And now, the angel's voice grows louder. How long will you stay asleep? How long will you chase what you already know cannot satisfy? How long will you keep trying to earn love, prove worth, or fit into spaces you were never meant to occupy? It's time to awaken, to see the world as it is, and to step into who you truly are. Let go of the illusion. Let go of the false chase for success, for fame, for fleeting approval. You were not born to conform. You were born to awaken. Message 2. Stand apart. The rejection was never random. The second angel speaks. Stand apart. Have you ever questioned why you're so often misunderstood? Why people turn away from you, grow cold, or even oppose you without reason? It's not because you've done something wrong. It's because the light within you reveals what others would rather keep hidden. Your spirit carries truth, and that truth confronts the illusions people cling to. Even in silence, your presence speaks, and that alone is enough to disturb the comfort of those still bound by darkness. Jesus himself said in John 15:18, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first." The world does not reject you because you're broken, but because you're chosen. Your rejection is not your ruin, it is your revelation. Look at Joseph. His own brothers hated him, not because he failed them, but because of the divine favor upon his life. They were disturbed by his dreams, threatened by his calling. So they threw him into a pit, hoping to destroy what they didn't understand. But that pit became the very path to his purpose. As Joseph would later declare, "What you meant for evil, God meant for good." And the same is true for you. Throughout history, this pattern repeats. Nikola Tesla, a man ahead of his time, was mocked and erased because his brilliance shook the foundations of power. Albert Einstein was labeled slow as a child, misunderstood because his genius didn't conform to the system. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't good enough, yet those very wounds became the soil from which her destiny bloomed. These stories confirm what your soul already knows. You were never meant to be accepted. You were meant to be set apart. So let the world reject you. Let them question, mock, or misunderstand you. Their rejection is not a verdict. It's a signpost pointing to the hand of God on your life. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. Heaven sees you. Message 3. Obey without delay. Time is running out. The third angel thunders. Obey without delay. This is not the hour to hesitate. The call has already been given. The mission is not somewhere out in the distance. It's already in your hands. Deep down, you know what you're called to do. You've felt it stirring in your spirit, echoing in your heart. The question is no longer what you're meant to do. It's when you will act. How many more signs do you need? How many times must God confirm what he has already spoken before you finally step forward? One of the enemy's most subtle and devastating weapons isn't always opposition. It's hesitation. It's the quiet voice that says, "Later. Wait. You're not ready yet." It's distraction, busyness, second-guessing, and delay. But hear this truth clearly. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. Think of Moses standing before the burning bush, questioning if he was capable. Think of Esther, trembling before the king, risking everything for a people in peril. Think of David, young and underestimated, running toward a giant with nothing but a sling and faith. None of them felt fully prepared, but they obeyed. And their obedience didn't just fulfill their calling, it unleashed miracles. The Israelites didn't see the Red Sea part until they moved. The walls of Jericho didn't fall until they marched. What miracles in your life are still waiting for your first step of faith? Even outside of Scripture, this principle stands. Steve Jobs once said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." Elon Musk was mocked and doubted, but he pressed forward, not because it was easy, but because he believed in the mission. And now, it's your turn. Stop waiting to feel ready. You are ready because God has already called you. The windows of opportunity won't remain open forever. If you don't move now, you risk missing the very thing you've been praying for. The time is now. Heaven is waiting. Will you obey? Message 4. Speak the truth. Let your voice roar. The fourth angel speaks, and his words burn like fire. Speak the truth. Your voice was never meant for silence. It was forged in heaven to break chains, to shatter deception, to awaken those who have been lulled to sleep by the lies of this world. You were given divine sight not to remain quiet, but to speak boldly what others are too afraid to say. In a world drowning in confusion and compromise, your voice is a trumpet, a call to return, a sound that leads the lost back home. When God called the prophet Jeremiah, he protested, "I do not know how to speak." But God responded with power. "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart and appointed you as a prophet to the nations." That same anointing rests on you. You were not randomly chosen. You were called, prepared, and positioned for such a time as this. The enemy has done everything to silence you. He's whispered lies that your voice doesn't matter, that your words will fall flat, that no one will listen. But the truth is this: your silence is his greatest victory, and you were never meant to hand it to him. Look at John the Baptist. He didn't whisper in comfort. He cried out in the wilderness. Elijah stood alone on Mount Carmel, confronting hundreds of false prophets with nothing but truth and boldness. And Jesus, our Savior, was not crucified for remaining silent. He was crucified because his truth shook the foundations of power and exposed what the world wanted hidden. You are part of that same spiritual lineage. Their fire runs through your veins. Their courage rests in your spirit. And now, it's your turn. Open your mouth. Speak, not with fear, not with apology, but with the unshakable authority of heaven itself. The world needs your voice, and heaven has already given you the words. Chosen one. This is not just a message, it is a divine summons. The four angels have spoken, and their voices echo through the spirit realm, calling you out of hiding, out of hesitation, and into the fullness of your purpose. The question now is no longer if God has called you. That has already been settled. The real question is, will you respond? This is your moment. No more delay. No more shrinking back. No more playing small in a world that needs your light to shine in full strength. You were born for this. You were fashioned for such a time as this. To rise, to speak, to lead, to carry heaven's fire into the darkest places. So now, let us pray together, not out of habit, but as a bold declaration of surrender and obedience. Heavenly Father, you have called me. You have chosen me. You have placed your fire within me. I repent for every moment I allowed fear to silence me, for every time I waited when I should have moved. Today, I say yes. I will not delay. I will not hesitate. I will not shrink back. Anoint my voice, O Lord. Let it roar with the power of your Spirit. Let every chain be broken through the truth I declare. I am not here to please the world. I am here to fulfill your will. Strengthen me, lead me, use me. Let your boldness rise in me, and let your words flow through me. Set me apart, and send me where you need me most. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. In Jesus' mighty name I pray, amen. You are not just being invited into a mission. You are being commissioned. Step forward. Heaven is already moving. Now it's your turn. You are part of something bigger than yourself. You are one of the 144,000, not merely a number, but a movement, a remnant, a force of light in a world of darkness, a generation rising up to fulfill prophecy and bring about God's divine plan on earth. Let this message take root in your soul. Let it stir you to action. And if this word has resonated deeply within you, consider supporting this mission through a super thanks or by simply liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing. Your support in any form helps spread this fire. Share your thoughts in the comments. How is God calling you? What has this message awakened in you? Let your voice be heard. It may be the very thing someone else needs to step into their destiny. Thank you for being part of this divine community. May God bless you. May His angels go before you. And may you walk boldly in the purpose for which you were created. In the shadows of unspoken truths, you stood alone. Your pain was witnessed, yet met with silence, a silence louder than words, an echo of empty promises and averted gazes. Those who should have defended you, those who vowed loyalty, choose comfort over courage. They turned away, retreating to safety while you faced the storm, stripped of allies, left to navigate the darkness on your own. They heard your cries but covered their ears. They knew the truth but sealed their lips. They watched from a distance as you struggled, hoping you would fall. Yet here you are, standing, breathing, victorious. Not because of them, but in spite of them. This triumph is yours and yours alone. Forged in resilience, tempered in solitude, polished by the very tears they pretended not to see. This moment isn't just about overcoming obstacles. It's about becoming someone unshakable. Every step you took without support, every battle you fought alone, every scar you wear with pride, each one is proof that they were never the reason for your success. You were. And now the world that watched you suffer in silence will watch you rise in undeniable power. When God calls you higher, the journey is never easy. Elevation is not a gift handed to you in comfort. It is a transformation that comes through fire. You may have wondered why you faced seasons of isolation, why familiar hands withdrew, why the very people you trusted seemed to disappear when you needed them most. But this was not rejection. It was divine selection. The first thing God does when He chooses you is separate you to protect you. That isolation you felt, it wasn't punishment. It wasn't abandonment. It was a shield. You were not left alone. You were pulled away from those who would have drained your energy, sabotaged your destiny, or diluted your purpose. There were people in your life who could not go where you were meant to go, people whose presence was a silent weight on your spirit. You may not have understood it then, but God saw what you couldn't. He saw the conversations that took place behind closed doors. He saw the silent envy in their hearts. He saw the betrayals before they happened. And in His mercy, He removed you before their presence could do irreversible damage. Next, He strips away human reliance to strengthen your faith. Every support system you once leaned on seemed to vanish. Every person you thought you could count on disappeared, and you were left standing in what felt like emptiness. But this was not by accident. It was preparation. He needed you to learn that your true source of strength was never in people, never in connections, never in external validation. It was in Him. You had to be stripped of every crutch so that you would learn to lean solely on divine provision. In your darkest hours, when no human hand reached out to steady you, you discovered a power beyond yourself, a wisdom no classroom could teach. You learned that the only foundation that could not be shaken was the one built on faith. And then He reveals your true identity. You are not ordinary. You were never meant to fit in, never meant to blend into the background. You are among the 144,000 chosen ones, not marked for ease but for transformation, not selected for comfort, but for impact. This is why the shift within you has been undeniable. The way you see the world has changed. The way you move through life has changed. And whether they admit it or not, the people around you feel it too. Have you noticed how people seem uneasy in your presence now? How does their energy shift when you walk into a room? It is not your imagination, it is spiritual reality. They sense something they cannot name, an authority upon you that they do not understand. Your existence forces them to confront their own weaknesses. Your resilience is a mirror in which they see their own compromises. Your strength exposes their stagnation, and that is why they distance themselves. But their discomfort is not your burden to carry. Their intimidation is not your failure. It is confirmation of your elevation. You were not chosen to be accepted. You were chosen to stand apart, to break cycles, to shift atmospheres, to carry something so powerful that it could not be entrusted to just anyone. And now, as you step into your true calling, understand this. The separation was necessary. The stripping away was preparation. And the power you now carry is evidence that you have been set apart for something greater. The betrayal that shook you, the one you never saw coming, was never an accident. It was always meant to happen. Not as a punishment, but as a revelation. It was written into the story of your elevation long before it unfolded in your life. You may have questioned why it had to hurt so deeply, why those you trusted the most turned against you. But the truth is, their betrayal was never about you. It was about them. Think back to the moments of unease, the quiet warnings, the subtle instincts you brushed aside, that lingering discomfort you once dismissed as paranoia. It wasn't your mind playing tricks on you. It was divine foresight. God was whispering, preparing you for what your heart wasn't yet ready to accept. You felt the energy shift long before the masks finally fell. You saw glimpses of their true nature, but you wanted to believe otherwise. You gave them grace. You justified their actions. You held on to the illusion that they cared as deeply as you did. But the same people who smiled the widest in your presence were the ones crafting your downfall behind closed doors. The hands that reached out in support were the same hands digging pits along your path. Some betrayed you out of jealousy, others out of fear. Your growth made their stagnation unbearable. Your authenticity exposed the deception they had carefully constructed. Your light made their shadows impossible to ignore. And so, they turned against you, not because you did anything wrong, but because your very existence was a threat to the lies they lived. And for some, their betrayal went beyond whispers and deceit. Money changed hands. There were conversations you weren't privy to, deals made at your expense. Your reputation was deliberately targeted. Opportunities were blocked before you even knew they existed. This was not casual disloyalty, it was calculated, planned, coordinated. They didn't just hope you would fall. They actively worked to make it happen. But what they failed to understand is what is divinely ordained can never be humanly obstructed. They were stopping you, but they were strengthening you. Their rejection would break you, but it clarified your direction. Every scheme they plotted only positioned you for something greater. Every loss they orchestrated became fuel for your elevation. Their betrayal did not destroy you, it defined you. And now, as they watch from the sidelines, their jealousy-fueled schemes are unraveling. The alliances they built on deception are crumbling beneath them. The very traps they set for you are now catching their own feet. Because that is the law of the universe. What they sowed, they will reap. As for you, you will walk into a season of divine vindication, not by seeking revenge, not by proving them wrong, but by rising so high that their betrayal becomes irrelevant. What was meant to break you has only built you. What was designed to silence you has only amplified your voice. And what was the end of your story was merely the beginning of a chapter they were never meant to be part of. Few will ever understand the depth of what you've endured. To most, your struggles seemed like ordinary obstacles, just another set of challenges that everyone faces in life. But you know the truth. This was never just about hardship. It was about opposition. It was about forces that deliberately worked against you, people who moved in silence, plotting ways to keep you from rising. They didn't just resist you. They organized against you. There were conversations held in secret, alliances formed behind your back, deliberate attempts to suppress your voice. Every time you tried to step forward, there was resistance, too consistent, too calculated to be mere coincidence. Doors closed without reason. Opportunities disappeared before you even knew they existed. People turned on you for no logical explanation. You weren't imagining it. The moment you began walking in your true purpose, the opposition intensified. But tell me, what weapon can prosper against someone divinely shielded? What scheme can succeed against someone celestially supported? Not a single one. They underestimated the power that was backing you. They moved in secrecy, thinking their schemes would go unnoticed. They thought their numbers, their influence, their strategies would be enough to stop you. But what they failed to realize is that you were never standing alone. The same power that spoke the universe into existence is the same power that has been working on your behalf. The same God who parted the seas, who shut the mouths of lions, who raised the dead, He is the one standing behind you. They weren't just fighting against you, they were fighting against divine will. And no force, no strategy, no earthly alliance can stand against what God has ordained. And now, the tables are turning. The narrative is shifting. The storm is breaking. Everything they would destroy you has only refined you. Every attempt to silence you has only made your voice stronger. Every obstacle they placed in your way has become a stepping stone for your ascension. They spent so much time crafting your downfall that they never prepared for the possibility of your rise. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, still rising. And now, as they watch in disbelief, they will come to understand what they refused to acknowledge all along. You were never meant to be defeated. The very moment they would be your destruction has become the platform for your breakthrough. What was meant to bury you has instead planted you, and now you are growing beyond their reach. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to seek revenge. Just keep rising. Because their resistance was never greater than God's protection. Their plans were never stronger than His purpose. And their schemes? They were never enough to stop what was already divinely written. They had taken something from you. They thought they had stripped you of what was rightfully yours and left you with nothing. But what they failed to understand is that the universe, under divine order, keeps perfect accounts. Nothing that was unjustly taken from you is ever truly lost. Nothing that was stolen will remain in the hands of those who took it. What was removed from your life, whether by force or deception, was never beyond God's reach. He saw the betrayals, the sabotage, the unfair losses. He witnessed every tear, every moment of despair when you thought you had been robbed of something you could never recover. And yet, what you thought was taken permanently is already on its way back to you, not just returned, but multiplied beyond measure. That opportunity that slipped through your fingers, it will come back tenfold. The job, the position, the dream you thought had been stolen from you, it was never truly gone. It was simply being realigned to return to you in a way that exceeds what you originally imagined. God does not restore in equal measure. He restores in overflow. That relationship that ended, the one you thought was destined to last, the one you mourned for longer than you should have. It was never meant to carry the weight of your destiny. If it had stayed, it would have hindered your growth. If they had remained, they would have become a limitation rather than a blessing. God does not remove people from your life without reason. If they walked away, if they betrayed you, if the bond dissolved, it was because He saw something you couldn't, and what He has prepared for you in the future will make you realize why that chapter had to close. That door that shut so abruptly, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. You may have questioned why certain paths were blocked, why you faced so many obstacles, why no matter how hard you pushed, nothing seemed to work. But what if I told you that God was not keeping something from you, but preparing something for you? The delay was divine. The redirection was intentional. The setback was never a denial. It was a setup for something greater. But what they didn't realize is that in trying to steal from you, They only sealed their own fate. What they thought was your loss has become your gain. What they meant for harm has become fuel for your rise. This is not the end. This is the beginning. A new season is unfolding before you, one where restoration comes not in equal measure, but in abundance. One where what was stolen is returned in ways that leave no doubt about divine intervention. One where every tear you cried becomes the foundation for a future so great, it will silence every voice that ever doubted you. Keep moving forward, because what is meant for you can never truly be lost. It is simply waiting to return, multiplied, magnified, and more powerful than before. Listen carefully. You must forgive, not for them, not because they deserve it, not because what they did was excusable. You must forgive because you deserve to be free. Holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy chain, one that keeps you tethered to the very people who sought to harm you. The longer you hold on, the more they remain connected to your spirit. Their actions may be in the past, but as long as you keep replaying the pain, their influence lingers in your present. Unforgiveness is not a punishment for them. It is a prison for you. But here's the truth. You were never meant to be bound by pain. Forgiveness does not mean excusing what they did. It does not mean pretending that it didn't hurt. It does not mean giving them another place in your life. It means cutting the cord. It means reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your future. Because as long as bitterness remains, it poisons everything it touches. It clouds your vision. It steals your joy. It keeps you from fully embracing what is ahead. But when you forgive, you take back your power. You are not erasing the past. You are choosing to stop letting it define you. You are not letting them off the hook. You are simply refusing to let their actions control your emotions any longer. They will answer for what they've done. The universe will balance the scales. Justice will come in its own time, in its own way. That is not your burden to carry. Your only task is to move forward. And moving forward means leaving their weight behind. It means walking into your future without dragging the chains of yesterday. It means choosing healing over hatred, peace over pain, and freedom over the illusion of control. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to them. It is a gift you give to yourself. So let it go because you do. Let it rise, not in arrogance, but in assurance. Rise, not in vengeance, but in vision. Rise, not in bitterness, but in boldness. Because the world is waiting, and you have work to do. Thank you for watching until the very end. Your journey is just beginning, and we're walking it together. If this message spoke to you, like this video, subscribe, and join this growing community of warriors. Let's rise together, stronger, bolder, and unstoppable. See you in the next one. Imagine waking up one day to realize that everything you've ever endured, every hardship, every tear, every lonely moment, has been preparing you for this very moment. It's not just another day on the calendar, it's the day your life changes forever. A day that has been written in the stars, foretold by the ancient prophets, and woven into the very fabric of your being. That day is March 31st. This day is not just an ordinary date. It is a divine threshold, a cosmic event that will either propel you into your destiny or leave you trapped in the same cycles of doubt and uncertainty. The veil between heaven and earth is growing thinner, and the divine energies of the universe are stirring. Can you feel it? That restlessness deep within you, that unexplainable knowing that something monumental is about to unfold? The world has tried to silence you, doubt you, reject you, but March 31st is the day the world will see the truth. The day your enemies, those who mocked and abandoned you, will witness your supernatural elevation. When God's hand moves, nothing can stand in its way. If you are feeling this message in your spirit right now, let's subscribe and comment 777 to know this. You have been called for such a time as this. The journey of the chosen ones is rarely an easy one. In fact, It is often marked by struggles, rejection, and battles that may seem impossible to understand, even by those closest to you. If you have ever found yourself feeling alone, misunderstood, or as though the weight of the world is against you, you are not alone. Throughout history, the chosen ones have walked a path that the world often cannot comprehend. This path is not paved with comfort or ease, but with moments of hardship and isolation. From the time of Moses, who was raised in exile and called to lead a nation from slavery, to David, who was overlooked by his own family and forced to fight battles no one expected him to win, the stories of God's chosen vessels throughout the Bible have one common theme. The road to greatness is not an easy one. But within this journey of struggle lies divine purpose. The chosen ones have been called not in spite of their struggles, but because of them. Each trial, each setback, and each moment of rejection has been part of a greater divine plan. The pain, isolation, and loss that you may have experienced were never meant to break you. They were the very things that were shaping you, preparing you for the divine appointments that are about to unfold in your life. In the wilderness, where you may have felt abandoned or overlooked, God was quietly working in the background, molding you into the person you needed to become. The trials that seemed unbearable were actually the tools God was using to refine you, to strengthen your faith, and to prepare you for what was to come. The path of the chosen ones is often one of loneliness, like Moses, who spent years in exile before returning to lead the Israelites, or David, who was anointed as king but spent years in the wilderness fleeing from Saul. You too may have found yourself in seasons of loneliness and isolation. These seasons were not signs of abandonment, nor were they a reflection of your worth or value. They were simply the preparation God was using to get you ready for your appointed time. The Bible makes it clear that God's chosen ones are often called to a higher purpose, but this higher purpose comes at a cost. The path to greatness is never smooth, but it is always purposeful. The chosen ones are not those who are born into comfort or ease. Rather, they are those who have faced trials and have come out stronger on the other side. Think about Esther, who was not chosen by chance, but was divinely positioned for such a time as this. Esther's journey began in a season of exile and hardship, yet God orchestrated every detail of her life to position her for the pivotal moment when she would save her people from destruction. Esther's beauty and favor were not just a result of her appearance, they were the tools God used to position her in the palace, where she would have the opportunity to stand in the gap for her nation. Her calling was not an accident. She was prepared through trials, through moments of uncertainty, and through seasons of waiting. Just as Esther was placed for her purpose, you too have been positioned for such a time as this. Your life has not been a series of random events. It has been a divinely orchestrated journey, leading you to this very moment. If you look closely at your life, you will see that it is marked with moments of divine intervention, moments when you were guided toward people, places, and opportunities that you could never have anticipated. These are the divine appointments that God has set in motion for you long before you were born. Whether it was a chance encounter with someone who changed your life, a dream that led you down a new path, or a sudden moment of clarity that unlocked the answers to questions you've been asking for years. These divine encounters are not coincidences. They are signs that you are walking the path that God has planned for you. Just like Esther, who stepped into her calling at just the right time, so too will you step into the purpose God has written for you. It's time for the chosen ones to rise, to walk into their destiny, and to fulfill the divine calling that has been upon their lives since the beginning of time. The trials you faced were never meant to defeat you. They were meant to prepare you. Your losses, your moments of grief, your seasons of waiting, all of these have been part of the divine shaping process. God has been preparing you to carry out the work that He has called you to do. You may have asked why things didn't happen the way you expected, or why your journey has been marked with so many difficulties. But understand this: it is not the absence of struggle that prepares you. It is the way you rise through it. Each obstacle, each challenge, has been God's way of refining you, strengthening you, and making you ready for the purpose that lies ahead. In the Bible, we see time and time again that the greatest leaders, the most powerful vessels of God's work, were not chosen because of their comfort, but because of their perseverance through trials. Consider Joseph, who, before ever standing before Pharaoh, was thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for years. His dreams of greatness seemed to be cruel jokes, mocked by the very people who should have supported him. Yet all of his suffering was part of the process that prepared him to become the second in command in Egypt, where he would save his family and his nation from famine. Joseph was refined through hardship, and his calling was fulfilled because he chose to rise above his circumstances and trust in God's plan for his life. Like Joseph, you may have endured seasons of hardship, betrayal, and pain, but these experiences have not been for nothing. They have been the furnace in which your purpose has been forged. The wilderness is not meant to break you, it is meant to build you. Like gold that is refined in the fire, your character has been shaped and purified by the trials you've faced. Your perseverance through these challenges has made you ready to rise and walk into the calling that God has for you. The path of the chosen ones is one of endurance. It is not about avoiding hardship, but about trusting that through every trial, God is with you, refining you, and preparing you for the work ahead. The time has come for the chosen ones to rise. Your divine purpose has been set in motion. The experiences you have lived, the pain you have endured, and the moments of doubt you have faced have all led you to this moment in time. It is time to step into the divine calling that has always been yours. You are not meant to fit in with the ordinary. You are called to stand out, to be a light in the darkness, to bring solutions to the world's greatest problems, and to lead others to the truth of God's love and power. So, if you have felt abandoned, isolated, or rejected, remember this: your trials are not the end of your story. They are the preparation for your greatest breakthrough. Your calling is not on hold. It is being prepared. And it is time for you to rise and step into your divine purpose. The path of the chosen ones is one of struggle, yes, but it is also one of glory, of purpose, and of ultimate victory. It is time to walk boldly into the destiny that has been written for you from the very beginning. As the date of March 31st draws near, something extraordinary is beginning to unfold, one that will reverberate throughout the lives of those who are spiritually awake. For many, March 31st will seem like just another day on the calendar, another fleeting moment in the endless march of time. Yet for the chosen ones, those whose hearts have been attuned to the whispers of heaven, March 31st marks something far more significant. It is not just a simple day. It is a divine moment, a cosmic alignment that will change the course of their lives forever. On this day, heaven and earth will converge in a way that has been divinely orchestrated long before the beginning of time. It is a day when the spiritual realms will be in perfect alignment with the physical world, creating a moment of profound opportunity for those who are ready to embrace it. Those who have walked through seasons of struggle, confusion, and isolation will find that the doors that have remained locked for years will suddenly swing wide open. Promises that have laid dormant, forgotten in the depths of your soul, will come alive with unprecedented clarity and purpose. What once seemed like an impossible dream will transform into a tangible reality, and long-awaited blessings will begin to pour into your life. Divine connections, those relationships and appointments that were preordained before you were born, will manifest at exactly the right time. It will feel as though the universe itself has aligned to bring you the opportunities and breakthroughs you need to step into the calling you were always destined to fulfill. However, despite the incredible blessings and revelations that are set to unfold on March 31st, there is one crucial factor that will determine whether or not you are able to fully experience this divine moment. That factor is preparation. The key to unlocking the full potential of this divine appointment lies in how ready you are to receive it. For many, the arrival of March 31st will be a moment of spiritual separation, a defining line between those who are spiritually awake and those who remain trapped in darkness, oblivious to the sacred opportunity right in front of them. Will you be among those who recognize the significance of this day and step boldly into your divine destiny? Or will you remain spiritually asleep, missing the extraordinary moment that God has set before you? The choice is yours. This day will act as a test, a challenge to the readiness of your heart and spirit. It will be a line drawn in the sand that will separate the prepared from the unprepared. For those who have been spiritually diligent, those who have cultivated a heart of obedience and discernment, March 31st will bring a supernatural acceleration in their lives. You will experience breakthroughs, revelations, and an awakening that will propel you into the next phase of your divine journey. But for those who have neglected their spiritual preparation, who have allowed the distractions and noise of the world to cloud their vision, March 31st may pass by unnoticed. It may be just another day, another ordinary moment in the stream of time. But for the chosen ones, the ones who have been watching, waiting, and listening for the call of God, this date will mark the beginning of a new season of favor, purpose, and divine fulfillment. The signs that this moment is approaching are already here. If you have been paying attention, you may have noticed certain patterns appearing in your life, repeated numbers, strange synchronicities, vivid dreams, or moments of sudden clarity that seem to come from nowhere. These are not coincidences. These are God's whispers, gently guiding you toward the breakthrough that is about to unfold. They are divine signals, preparing you for what is coming, preparing you for the day when heaven touches earth in a way that will change your destiny. These signs are not random. They are pieces of a divine puzzle, leading you toward your moment of activation. Numbers like 111, 333, 555, and 777 may appear frequently in your life, and you may wonder what they mean. These are not just numbers, they are divine markers, each one holding a specific meaning and significance. They are reminders that the universe is aligning to bring you into your divine purpose. When you see these numbers, understand that God is speaking to you. He is telling you that something monumental is about to happen. He is opening the doors that have long been shut, and He is preparing you to step into the destiny that you were always meant to fulfill. These signs, whether they appear in the form of numbers, dreams, or encounters with people, are the way God communicates with those who are spiritually sensitive. They are His way of confirming that you are on the right path, that the time for your breakthrough is drawing near. And yet, even with these divine signs, the real question remains: will you be ready? The world is full of distractions, and it is easy to become so absorbed in the busyness of life that we miss the divine moments that God is setting before us. But God is calling you to wake up, to rise above the distractions of the world, and to see the truth that is unfolding around you. He is calling you to align yourself with His will, to tune out the noise, and to listen for His voice. March 31st will not be an ordinary day, but the key to experiencing its power lies in your ability to perceive the significance of the moment. The spiritual atmosphere is shifting, and those who are spiritually awake will feel it. You may have already begun to notice that your energy is changing. You may feel an increasing sense of urgency in your spirit, a growing awareness that something significant is approaching. This is not anxiety, it is divine anticipation. Your spirit recognizes that the veil between the physical and spiritual realms is thinning, and the time for your breakthrough is drawing near. But you must be prepared. You must position yourself to receive the abundant blessings and opportunities that are about to manifest. This means making time to tune in to the whispers of God, to spend time in prayer and meditation, to open your heart to His guidance. It means being intentional with your time, your energy, and your focus. When you are spiritually prepared, you will recognize the significance of March 31st as it arrives, and you will be ready to step into your divine calling without hesitation. Heaven is waiting for your response. The universe is aligning to bring you exactly what you need to fulfill your divine purpose. But God will not force His will upon you. He will not force you to step into your destiny. You must choose to respond. You must choose to rise above the distractions, to awaken your spirit, and to take action. March 31st is a moment of divine opportunity, but only those who are prepared will fully experience its power. Heaven is waiting for you to step forward, to claim your divine appointment, and to embrace the transformation that is coming. Will you be ready when the moment arrives? The time for hesitation is over. The time to step into your divine destiny is now. March 31st is a day like no other. It is a divine invitation, a moment that has been planned long before you were born. The question is, will you recognize it for what it is? Will you open your heart to the divine timing that is unfolding? Will you step boldly into your calling and take hold of the breakthrough that God has prepared for you? The signs are here, the opportunity is before you, and the time to act is now. Heaven is waiting for you to take that step. It is time to embrace your calling and walk boldly into the purpose that God has designed for you from the foundation of the world. As you stand on the threshold of this new season, remember, the enemy will try to distract you, to make you doubt, to make you feel unworthy. But you were chosen before time began, and March 31st is the moment when you will rise, unshaken, into the fullness of your destiny. This is your divine awakening, your moment of transformation. The time to act is now. Step forward, for the kingdom of heaven is waiting for you. Beloved, listen with your heart, as this message is not just for you. It is about you. You are not like the others. You were never meant to blend into the crowd or follow the path others set for you. You are something different, something magnificent. You are an earth angel, a radiant beacon of divine light, sent into this world to walk among shadows and transform them with your mere presence. In every moment of your life, you have stood as a testament to the fact that you carry within you a power that others cannot fathom. But there is something most profound you must understand, something that is about to unfold before your very eyes. A force so dark, so twisted in nature, has fallen in love with you. Not because you are like them, but because you represent everything they can never be. You, Earth Angel, embody the unshakable essence of truth, light, and love. You stand tall, unyielding, when others crumble. Your presence alone unnerves the very foundation of darkness. And now this force, this master of deception, fear, and chaos, finds itself ensnared in its own traps, unable to break free. It has tried to manipulate, to deceive, to control, and yet you remain untouched, a shining light, standing firm in your truth. But what happens next? How do you respond to such a profound confrontation? You, chosen one, have been placed here for a reason, and your journey holds the key to a deeper understanding of power, love, and transformation. The chosen one stands as an unshakable force, a beacon of light in a world shrouded by darkness. From the moment you were born, you were never meant to follow the crowd, to fit into the molds of others. You were destined for something far greater, to walk a path that only the boldest souls dare to tread. Your light is undeniable, and it cannot be dimmed by the shadows that seek to consume it. While others cower in fear, you stand firm, unyielding and fearless, radiating a strength that unsettles even the deepest forces of darkness. The devil, who has spent centuries weaving deception, manipulation, and chaos, has encountered many who have fallen before its tricks. Great kings, wise philosophers, and even the righteous have succumbed to its snares. Yet when it faced you, it found something entirely different. The traps it set, the temptations it offered, and the fears it instilled all failed to break you. In fact, they only revealed your true power. You, the chosen one, do not engage in the games of the devil. You do not play by its rules, nor do you bend to its will. While others are swayed by illusion, you see through the falsehoods, recognizing them for what they truly are, mere distractions meant to steal your peace and light. The devil, used to manipulating the minds of the mighty, finds itself powerless in your presence. It cannot use the same tactics on you that it has used for centuries to bring empires to their knees. You are not broken by its lies. You do not fall for its deceptions. Instead, you remain steadfast in your truth, unwavering in your faith, and this is what terrifies the devil. For the first time, it faces something it cannot control, a force of nature that stands beyond its reach. Your power does not lie in physical strength or in the ability to defeat the devil through violence. No, your power lies in your unwavering authenticity. The light you carry is not of this world, and it cannot be extinguished by the darkness that surrounds it. You stand firm, not because you are defiant, but because you are grounded in your truth. The devil has never encountered anyone like you before, someone whose presence alone shatters its illusions and exposes its weaknesses. It is in your stillness, in your ability to remain true to yourself, that the devil is forced to confront the very lies it has lived by. You do not need to fight. You do not need to engage in a battle of wills. You simply are, and that is enough. Your light has a profound effect on the world around you. It disrupts the devil's carefully constructed web, exposing the vulnerabilities it has spent lifetimes hiding. The devil thought it could break you, but in reality, it has become ensnared by its own deception. And now, it is you who holds the power. The more you stand in your truth, the more the darkness around you begins to dissolve, and the devil finds itself unraveling. You are the embodiment of divine strength, and this is what makes you unstoppable. The transformation begins when the devil, accustomed to controlling and manipulating, faces something it has never encountered before: your unwavering light and truth. For centuries, the devil has weaved a tapestry of deception, carefully crafting illusions to keep the world in darkness. It has watched kingdoms fall, witnessed the wise crumble under pressure, and seen the righteous stray from their paths, all due to its clever manipulations. The devil thrives on chaos and fear, using these as tools to dominate and subjugate, never expecting to encounter someone who sees through its carefully constructed facade. But when it comes to you, the chosen one, everything changes. You do not bend to the devil's will, nor do you fall into the traps set by its false promises. While the devil has spent lifetimes perfecting the art of temptation, it is powerless against your clarity and truth. The illusions it has long used to control others crumble in your presence, and for the first time, it finds itself exposed. No longer able to hide behind deceit, the devil is forced to confront the reality it has spent so long avoiding. The light you carry is not just a force that guides you. It is a force that shines on the darkness around you, unraveling everything the devil once believed to be true. As the devil stands before you, it experiences something it has never known: vulnerability. It has always been the predator, the one in control, but now it is ensnared by its own web of lies. Your unwavering presence has disrupted its power, revealing the cracks in its carefully built armor. What was once a master of manipulation is now forced to question itself. The devil, for the first time, sees that it cannot manipulate you. It cannot twist your truth. Your light exposes its deepest fears, its darkest wounds, and it is in this moment that the devil begins to unravel. The power it thought it had is revealed to be an illusion, and it stands before you, no longer the force it once was. This unraveling is not immediate, nor is it easy. The devil has existed for eons, thriving in its deception, and now it must confront the very things it has long denied. But even in the face of its own unraveling, the devil finds itself strangely drawn to you. It cannot escape the truth you radiate. It begins to realize that its power was never as absolute as it believed. Your light is not something that can be extinguished. It simply reveals what was hidden. It exposes the cracks in the devil's foundation and forces it to see what it has long avoided: the truth of its own emptiness. In this moment of confrontation, the devil stands at a crossroads. It is faced with a choice: continue down the path of destruction, or embrace the painful yet liberating journey of transformation. The light you shine is not just a force that exposes its weakness. It is a force that offers the devil an opportunity for change. It can no longer rely on manipulation to get what it wants. Instead, it must decide whether to continue in its ways or step into the light of truth that you have shown. The devil's unraveling is not the conclusion of the story. but rather a pivotal moment, a moment of opportunity for transformation, if it is willing to embrace it. The revelation unfolds when the devil, the master of deception, is confronted with a force it has never been able to control: your unwavering presence. For centuries, the devil has thrived on creating illusions, bending reality to its will, and making darkness appear as light. It has whispered into the ears of kings, manipulated the hearts of rulers, and twisted the minds of the righteous. The devil has long been a puppet master, pulling strings from the shadows, convincing the world that its version of truth is the only truth. But when it faces you, all of that begins to shatter. You are not swayed by the devil's whispers, nor are you drawn into the webs it weaves. Your clarity exposes every illusion for what it is: empty, hollow, and false. The devil, used to being the one who creates deception, is now the one whose lies are exposed. The illusions that once kept the world in darkness crumble in your light. The masks the devil wears, designed to manipulate and control, no longer hide its true nature. You see through the facade, recognizing the darkness for what it truly is: a hollow attempt to overshadow the light that resides in you. This breaking of illusions is not just about exposing lies, it is about revealing the truth that has always been hidden behind layers of deception. The devil thrives on the belief that it controls the world, that it can manipulate anyone and everyone to do its bidding. But in your presence, it can no longer hide behind its illusions. The truth you carry is too powerful for its deceitful tactics to succeed. And in that truth, the devil is forced to face the reality it has long avoided. It is not the ultimate force in the universe. The revelation is a profound moment of clarity, not just for you, but for the devil as well. The darkness it has cultivated is now exposed to the light, and for the first time, it sees the full extent of its own emptiness. All the power it once believed it had, all the fear it instilled in others, is revealed to be nothing more than an illusion. The devil has built an empire on fear, on control, and on manipulation, but in your unwavering truth, it sees that none of it is real. It is a house of cards, ready to collapse. This moment is a turning point. The devil, no longer able to hide behind its illusions, stands exposed and vulnerable. It realizes that its greatest weapon, deception, no longer holds power over you. Your light shines through every shadow, revealing the truth that has been buried for so long. And this truth is not just about exposing the devil's lies. It is about awakening the world to a higher understanding. You have shattered the illusion, not with force or violence, but with the clarity of your presence. And in doing so, you have revealed that the devil's power was never real to begin with. The revelation is more than a simple unveiling of the devil's deception. It is the beginning of a transformation. Once the illusions are broken, the devil is faced with a choice: to continue down the path of destruction, or to embrace the painful but necessary journey of self-awareness and change. The truth you have revealed offers the devil a chance to heal, to transform, and to choose a new path. Whether it chooses this path or not is yet to be seen, but the illusion has been broken, and with it, the devil's control. The power of truth, once unleashed, cannot be contained, and it is in this moment that everything changes. The devil now finds itself at a crucial crossroads, faced with a choice that it has never had to make before. For eons, it has been the one in control, the master of manipulation, the force that twists the truth and bends reality to its will. It has thrived in darkness, using fear, temptation, and deceit as tools to control and dominate. But now, in the presence of your unyielding light, the devil is confronted with something it has never fully understood: the power of truth. For the first time, its illusions no longer work. The carefully woven web of lies that it has spent centuries building has begun to unravel. The shadows that once shielded its power are no longer impenetrable. And in this moment, the devil is left with a question: will it continue down the path of destruction, or will it step into the light and embrace the possibility of transformation? This moment of choice is not just a simple decision. It is a profound reckoning. The devil has always believed that control was the ultimate power, that manipulation and fear were the keys to shaping the world around it. But now, standing before the undeniable truth that you represent, the devil must question everything it once held to be true. The power of darkness, which has sustained it for so long, is now revealed to be hollow in the face of light. The devil's tactics, its manipulation and control, have lost their grip. The lies it has spread no longer resonate, and it stands exposed, vulnerable in a way it has never known. The question remains, will the devil allow this moment of reckoning to be its undoing, or will it seize this opportunity for change? For the first time, it has the chance to evolve, to step away from its patterns of destruction and manipulation, and embrace something greater, the potential for transformation. But transformation is not easy. It requires the devil to confront its own darkness, to face the very fears and weaknesses it has long hidden from the world, and perhaps even from itself. The road to change is painful and fraught with uncertainty, but it is the only path that leads to true freedom. The choice is now in the devil's hands. It can continue down the path of chaos, destruction, and manipulation, or it can choose to let go of its old ways and open itself up to the possibility of something new. It can choose to remain entrenched in the darkness, or it can embrace the light and step into a future of healing and growth. This choice is not just about the devil's fate. It is about the fate of everything it has touched. The decision it makes will determine not only its own transformation, but the ripple effects it will have on the world around it. What will the devil choose? Will it remain in the shadows, clinging to its illusions? Or will it rise to the challenge of change and embrace the light? The decision is pivotal, and its consequences will echo throughout eternity. The true power lies in the ability to understand, for understanding is what transforms darkness into light. The devil, a master of deception, has always relied on illusion, twisting reality to control and manipulate the world. Fear, temptation, and lies have been its tools, and for ages they have brought even the most powerful to their knees. But when it faces you, everything changes. You do not fight the devil with weapons or brute strength. You confront it with understanding, with the unwavering ability to see through its illusions. While the devil thrives on confusion and deception, you bring clarity. Where there is fear, you offer calm. Where there is darkness, you bring light. Your presence alone disrupts the devil's hold, not because you are engaging in a battle of wills, but because you see things as they truly are. The devil's illusions lose their power in the face of your truth. The lies it has woven, the deceptions it has cast over the world, all begin to unravel when they come into contact with your understanding. You don't fall for its tricks or get ensnared in its webs. You recognize them for what they are: empty shadows, designed to distract and confuse. And when you stand in your truth, those shadows can no longer hide the light that is within you. This is where your true strength lies, not in resistance, but in your presence. You do not need to fight or engage in the devil's games. You simply stand firm in who you are, and in doing so, you expose the flaws in the devil's tactics. It is your clarity, your ability to see beyond the veil of deception, that makes you powerful. The devil, accustomed to twisting reality and manipulating those around it, is powerless against someone who refuses to be deceived. The power of your understanding breaks the chains of its control. In this light, the devil is revealed for what it truly is, nothing more than a collection of lies built on fear and manipulation. And when it stands before you, exposed, it begins to unravel. You see the truth in all things, and this understanding cannot be hidden, no matter how many layers of illusion the devil tries to place over it. Your light shines through the darkness, breaking down the walls the devil has built, and revealing the truth that has always been there. The devil's greatest weapon has always been its ability to deceive. But when you walk in understanding, you turn its weapon into nothing more than a fleeting illusion. And in this understanding, the light you carry cannot be extinguished, no matter how hard the devil tries. Your clarity is a force that the devil cannot match, for in the presence of truth, every lie is revealed. Chosen one, as you stand firm in your truth, remember this: you are not like the others. You were never meant to follow the crowd or shrink in fear, but to rise above, to embrace the power that lies within you. The light you carry cannot be extinguished by darkness, and the truth you embody is a force that will always break through the lies. You are a beacon in a world that often seems lost in shadows, and your presence alone is enough to shift the very fabric of reality. Your strength lies in your authenticity, your unwavering understanding of who you are. The challenges you face, the trials you endure, are not here to break you. They are here to refine you, to shape you into the powerful force of change you were always meant to be. As you continue on your journey, embrace this power within you. Stand tall in your light, knowing that you are not alone. The universe is supporting you every step of the way. And with each step you take, you inspire others to rise, to find their own strength, and to stand in their truth. The world needs you now more than ever, chosen one. I want to take a moment to thank you for being here, for listening, for embracing the light within yourself. If this message has resonated with you, and if you feel called to join this journey of truth and transformation, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. By doing so, you'll never miss an inspiring story or powerful message that could fuel your path toward greatness. Your presence and support help spread these truths further, touching lives all around the world. Thank you for being part of this community. May you continue to walk in strength with your light shining brightly for all to see. You are blessed, you are seen, and you are loved. Keep shining, chosen one.